All right, folks, I think we will wait a little while to make sure that we let people in. And yeah, let's start in about 5 minutes time, okay? So still got a bit of time. Meanwhile, let me go upload the video from just now because it just finished processing on Zoom. Yeah, should work. Okay, looks like people are streaming in. I am just uploading stuff. So we'll wait maybe a few more minutes, okay? So I think about 3 to 4 more minutes and we'll get started. Okay, so hang in there. Okay, let's get started. All right, everyone, welcome back. Hope everyone was had a good lunch and stuff. Let's continue with our learning for today. Let me just reiterate a few things from this morning in case anyone missed out on the briefing from earlier today. Okay, so first things first, what's the first thing? First things first, I guess you need the link to this thing over here, which is the link to our notes. Okay, so all this is available inside your, all this is available in Discord. So I hope everyone is on Discord. And let me just go grab the link again for everyone. These are the workshop materials. That's how you get there. Okay. Second thing I need to point out is that I would prefer if you chat on the Discord. So if you have any questions, please send there and we will try our best to help you over there rather than over here. Okay. If you're not on Discord yet, please get to Discord. There should be a bunch of, I should have sent at least 1 or 2 emails to you, and you should be able to click on the Discord join link from there. Okay, if I don't know how you got here without getting the emails. Okay. Beyond that, when you're on Discord, please help me out by renaming yourself to your actual name because there will be DSTA people coming in. There'll be a DSTA mentor joining your group by the end of the week. Please do rename yourself. Some of these names are a little bit mysterious. Okay, so if you do need to rename yourself, you just need to right-click on your own name on Discord, and you can change your edit server profile, change to your actual name. Okay, so that's what I would like your help with. Okay, so right click and yeah, edit server profile, right? They can change your server nickname. Okay. All right, let's get started with this afternoon's stuff. So I will be continuing with React Native. Let me just apply the same caveats that I did this morning. The stuff that we are going through right now is not necessarily crucial, or it's not critical to your project. Okay, your goal is to make a working prototype for the hackathon. Okay, and I guess let me take a moment to just quickly run through the schedule for the hackathon, because I did realize that I was looking for this schedule and I didn't reach some of you, or you didn't know where it is. Okay, so today is the 5th of June. We have workshops for today, tomorrow, and the day after. Okay, on Friday we are releasing the problem statement. Okay, Friday we're releasing problem statement that is at 10 a.m. Okay, that should have been in the latest email that went out, and I think the link was inside there as well. We will put it up on the Discord shortly as well. Okay, then you have 6 days to submit something. All right, as for what you submit, where to submit, how to submit, when to submit, why to submit, maybe not why. Okay, all that will be revealed on Friday. Okay, but I can tell you, as a bonus for those of you joining us today, that you do not need to know React Native for the submission after you get the problem statement. Okay, you don't actually need to know React Native that well. Okay, you can use React Native. You don't if you don't have to, if you don't want to. Okay, it's a bit more of proving your idea and getting your prototype ready for for us to decide whether or not it should go on to the finals. Okay, so submit by the 14th. Okay, then there will be a few days where we need to, sit in the room, lock ourselves inside, and like stare at all these things, stare, and then decide who will make it to the finals. Okay, so please bear with us. I know it's a bit of a subjective process. We do have some general rubrics to share with you a bit later on. Okay, but once we're done with that, we will announce the finalists on 16th of June. 16th of June is next Friday. Okay, and then we will see you again on the 21st of June for a full day hackathon. All right. And some of you might be asking, if you're very confident, you're pretty sure you'll get into the finals, okay? Or if you're in the JC section, which is smaller, I guess easier to get in, I suppose. The uni poly side has a lot of teams. You can start working once you are named a finalist. Okay, you can start working. 21st June, we do still ask you to show up because we would like to see it. We would like to help you out. We have mentors on the spot to talk to you, help you out, make sure that you put your best foot forward and everything. Okay, and yeah, also for a chance for DSTA to get to know you, because DSTA, the organization that is funding this entire program and organizing it, I'm not from DSTA. We are a company engaged by DSTA to run this. They are interested in you as potential contestants, and maybe they have opportunities available for you for in terms of, I don't know, scholarships, internships, all kinds of nice chips available. Okay, so please show up for the 21st of June, and then you will be asked to pitch on the 22nd of June. All right, so that's what's going to happen. 21st and 22nd is a live event. I understand it is at MBS, but I could be wrong. Okay, either MBS or Suntec. All right, so that is the upcoming schedule. If you are looking for it, it's over here inside the links. Oh, I have a question inside here. Oh, it says thanks. All right, you're welcome. Okay, so the question here was actually where can I watch the recorded lessons? We are uploading them to YouTube as we speak. By we, I mean my browser. Another browser window is uploading, and YouTube is processing it to check whether got any copyright infringement. So hopefully not, because I think it's me. Who am I gonna? Whose copyright I'm going to infringe? Okay, anyway, so that's it for the announcements and administrivia. Any questions? All right, so once again, questions, please send them over to Discord so I can check in on them. Right, so you'll see that I have a couple of folks here, Marcus and Sean. They will be helping me with answering the questions. I understand Sean is on a terrible internet connection somewhere in, I don't know, Malaysia or something. All right, so he might be a bit slower. Thanks, Marcus, for filling in as necessary. All right, let's get started. So once again, this is your React Native workshop, and this is where you can learn some React Native. And here are your slides, which you can access from the link inside your links and also the workshop chat. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to get started with a simple info app, right? I call this an info app. Is to teach you more about navigation. All right, I don't know how many of you have paid attention to your UI and UX principles when you're dealing with mobile devices. There's quite a bunch of stuff that's kind of settled in, because it's been like 16 years since we got our first, this wave of mobile devices, right, from iPhone and Android. So it's been a while, right? And I guess it's going to be something that why do I have two of the same slide? It's going to be something that I think we take for granted, right? Some of you here you might not even remember a life without mobile devices. Okay, so all these like navigation and stuff like that, just super intuitive to you, but maybe when you are making it, you might need to think a little bit about how it's made and why it's done like that. Okay, so the first thing is, if you weren't here this morning, one of the things you missed out on was installing the necessary things. Okay, so let me just quickly review that. So this morning I went through these two sets of slides. It's Hello World and Clicker App and Local Expo. So we're using Expo. Expo is like a little bit of a toolkit built on top of React Native, right? It's well regarded, and the React Native developers recommend it as well. Okay, so at the end of this, okay, I had some instructions on installing your local Expo, and I just realized that these slides are a bit out of date, so I do need to change them a little bit. So I'm just going to quickly get this in. Okay, so type this in. All right, so let me see. Okay, so it's no longer Expo init, it's npx create Expo app project 1. Okay, cd to your project folder, and you can get started. Okay, so that's the general idea, right? So that's how you install it. And then this one, you don't need this anymore. This is gone. Goodbye, delete. Okay, and after that, and then you just need to, hang on, let me just finish updating my slides. It's like mildly embarrassing, but it's okay, right? Start the app, right? So I'm just going to say this should be npx expo start. Okay, if I remember correctly, that should be it. Okay, so let me demo that real quick. Okay, so this is stuff that I've already downloaded and installed. Okay, Node.js and npm. All right, and now I'm going to head over to my terminal. Where's my terminal? Where's my terminal? Hang on. Yes, let me make Sean the co-host real quick. Okay, so let me go over to my terminal. I'm using iTerm. Okay, and let me just pull it over here. Okay, nice little terminal app. All right, on Windows, you would probably use PowerShell or command prompt or whatever. Windows terminal. That's right. That's the new thing. Okay, so let's say you want to create your new project. Assuming you've got everything installed, you would do npx create expo app, right? And then I'm going to call this info app. It's going to create a folder over there. And once I do that, right, let me install. Whoa, okay, I've already got an info app. Hang on, let me get rid of that. Okay, so you don't have to be super familiar with the command line, but there are certain things that are easier to do on the command line. Okay, if you're not sure, you can go online, find the command line tutorial. There should be plenty out there. All right, so I'm going to do it again. npx create expo app, info app. Okay, so what that does is it will create this new project. It'll download a whole bunch of files. Okay, what's npx and npm, right? Npx is like kind of like an executor. It's like a runner thing. Okay, it runs certain scripts that are available somewhere. npm is a node package manager, and it will actually grab a whole bunch of JavaScript based packages that are required for your app to run. Okay, so if you ever look inside these folders, you will find that there's a ton of stuff. It is fairly ridiculous how much stuff is required to have a JavaScript based project run. But that's what it's doing right now. It's just like downloading. Okay, and when it's done, right, it will actually just be able to create. Oh, let's do that. npm run web. Okay, so over here, right, it's just telling me that okay, it's done, right? We've installed it for you, right? Let's go inside info app. Okay, and you can do npm run web. Okay, npm run web means, whoops. Okay, so it's it might ask you to install more things, right? Then you can just need to follow the instructions. npx expo install blah blah blah, right? And let me just update the instructions. Follow the instructions to install more things, right? And it's currently these things. Oops. Right, so it was these things over here, which was these. Okay. All right, so I will fix my bullet points and everything. I just want to make sure that this is up to date for anyone who's looking at the slides later on. Okay, so the reason why I have to change things around is because in the world of web development, especially, things move and break very fast. Okay, so it used to be that you install something called an Expo app, and then you would Expo CLI app, and then you will use that. Right now, you don't. Now you use npx and things like that. Okay, so npm run web. Okay, so all right, I think I'm finally done. One thing that trips some people up is that they are very worried about the 14 vulnerabilities and all the warnings and stuff like that. It's okay, ignore, right? Don't care, ignore everything, okay? Right, don't worry. Okay, so when you're done, now you can finally npm run web. Okay, and when it's done, what happens is that now it's creating this thing, right? You might ask for permission, that's fine, okay? And over here, it's actually going to start my this little preview over here, info app, right? It runs on my local computer, localhost :19006, which is really just a web server that I'm starting up. Okay, so I'm just gonna pull it off to one side. Okay, and now I need my editor. Right now I need my editor. Those of you who missed out this morning, okay, I don't suggest you try and install everything right now. Okay, I don't think that's a good idea. If you really want to follow along, you can go to snack.expo.dev, sign up for an account, and then just type stuff in over there. Okay, it might be a little bit easier for you to follow along if your aim is to follow along. If you're just here to listen, that's fine. Okay, but those of you who missed this morning, I think I see a few new names in the list. You might want to just follow this from snack.expo.dev. The side effect of that is that you get all kinds of funny project names like Juicy Sandwich. Pretty cool. Okay, so back to me, what I was doing was I have this little preview over here, right? And now I want to edit my code. So I have my project over here is in my developer folder under info app. So what I like to do is I like to open up in Visual Studio Code, okay? And because I've actually installed Visual Studio Code's command line thing, right now I can actually just press code space dot inside here. Okay, if you don't have it, let me show you what you would do. You would open Visual Studio Code, and then you would say File, Open Folder, then you navigate to your folder, wherever it is. Let's go to my home folder, under my developer folder, and where's my info app? There it is. And then you would press Open over here. Okay, then it will have your project. Okay, so what I like to do is I actually like to make this, I try to put this like this. Okay, yeah. So one on the left, one on the right. My previews on the right hand side, and my code is on the left-hand side. If I click on app.js, there you go. Okay, you might be, okay, I have some plugins installed and things like that. Visual Studio Code, of course, is a nice little code editor, which I assume many of you have tried. If you've never tried it before, don't stress, okay? You can just go to vscode.dev. The link is in the slides somewhere. Okay, but let me just put it here. No, wrong. Okay, hang on. Click on this and make this person and go to vscode.dev. Okay, oops, don't go to vscode.dev. vscode.dev is the VS Code.dev is the web-based version, right? Just go to code.visualstudio.com, download it, and install it. Okay, so what that gives you is this nice little editor, which is pretty great. Let me switch off a couple of plugins that I should probably turn off real quick. Okay, so hang on. So the nice thing about this thing is that there's a whole bunch of little plugins that you can use, right? And I'm going to remove a bunch of them. I'm going to disable my Vim mode because yeah, let's not do that for class. Okay, but I also would like you, if you are running Visual Studio Code, to install the Prettier plugin, right? Prettier is a nice little code formatter. If you just go to this button down here that says extensions, or Command Shift X, and you can click on this and choose install. Okay, so what that does is it will reformat your code to be, you know, nice and indented properly and things like that. Okay. All right, so I hope that covers some of the things you need to know, right? So this is this. Okay, great. I have my setup back in space, back in check. Okay, so I have three things running. I have my terminal, okay, which has this little thing going. Okay, it's actually compiling the stuff, packing it together in the background. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to drag it around. Okay, so it's actually down here. Okay, so when I do npm run web, what it does is it creates a web-based preview of my app. Okay, if I really want, I could do npm run iOS and so on and so forth, and it would run an iOS simulator for me. Okay, and I can show you that later if you want. I can also download the Expo Go app on my phone and scan this QR code, and it should be able to run it on my phone. If I have time, I might demo that to you later as well. Okay, but the web preview is probably the fastest and the most stable. And anyway, you probably have a web browser open, right? So it's you don't need to open another app for all this. Okay. Even when you're inside here, you can press all these characters. You can press I to open iOS simulator. It will try and load it on the simulator as well. Okay. Some of these you might use. You might press R to reload the app. Okay. All right, so we are inside here. We have our app.js available. Let's get started creating the app. What are we making? Let's go check. Okay, so where's my... Okay, so we're making a simple info app. Okay, think of it as, let's say you're making an open house app for your school, right? Everyone here has, you know, either gone to or organized or both an open house. Yeah. So what do you need? You want to give people a bit of information about your school, right? You want to say, oh, join our school. Let's say you're in a JC right now. You want to ask secondary school kids to join your school. You're in poly, you want to ask the secondary school kids to join your school. Okay. Then you would give them a welcome page. You would give them a whole bunch of information, maybe an FAQ. You would give them some tabs over here where they can tap through to see other things going on. Okay. So that's what we're going to be making today, right? We're going to use icon libraries and React Native UI libraries, create lists of data, and navigate between screens. Okay, so that's how. So it's not a very interactive app. Okay, it's not like the Clicker app where just now where you press a button and something changes on screen, but you're just presenting a lot of information at once. Okay, the next app after this is the one where we're going to like put all kinds of stuff together to make this is a Kueh Lapis app, right? We'll see if we can get there today. Okay, so the event info app, right? This is what you might make for a hackathon, open house, ignore the last one. Okay, so you make this by doing npx create expo app info app. Okay, we've already done that. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this thing called React Navigation, all right, which I am a little bit wary about because it keeps changing, right? This has already changed on me twice when I'm done this course the last 2 years. Okay, but just be prepared for that. Okay, but first, the idea here is that you have certain ways of navigating an app. Okay, I think the best way to show you is like this. This is a stack on iOS. Okay, you've probably seen this before, right? You tap on this, it will plop something onto your screen, and then you can get a back button and you go backwards. Okay, I think the most common way you see this is the settings app on iOS, right? In the settings app, you go into general, then you go into about, then you go into Wi-Fi or things like that. right? And if you want to go back, you tap on this arrow button in the top left-hand corner, okay? Or you can swipe from the left edge of the screen, all right? So this is a navigation pattern that is available in iOS, and it's kind of available in Android too, right? So in Android, it shows up like this, right? You tap on it, it will pop up from the bottom to the top of the screen, and you still get this little back arrow. I think they call it the up arrow, okay, even though it's pointing to the left, okay. You tap on it and you'll go back, okay. Android also, of course, has its own built-in hardware back button, right, which is its own thing entirely, okay. But that's a stack. So React Native has decided that these two are equivalent, okay. On iOS and Android, these two are equivalent navigation paradigms, and it's when you create a stack, that's what you get on each platform. So it'll look different, right? It'll look different on iOS and on Android. You will see that if you can test it out on your devices, okay? But on the web, it's just going to be a web page. You'll just load a new web page, okay? All right, so that's what a stack looks like, right? It just kind of like covers the previous screen. Next is the tab bar. Okay, tab bar is very common as well. You've probably seen it on both iOS and Android. Okay, so the tab at the bottom, okay, is where you have all these different things that you can tap on. All your social media apps have this tab bar, right? Okay, maybe not TikTok, okay, but Facebook, right? Instagram, all your chat apps like WhatsApp, right? WhatsApp has this tab bar at the bottom. What they do, each tab is something like a different aspect of your app. So on WhatsApp, it would be things like your chats, it would be your favorites, it would be your settings and stuff like that. On Facebook, it would be whatever the heck they decide to put there. There's so many things they like to put there on Facebook. Okay, so it would be a different aspect. I think the best example of this is the alarm app. Let me see if I can open the iOS simulator for you. I happen to have the iOS simulator because I installed Xcode and I'm on a Mac. Okay, you can't get the iOS simulator on Windows. So if it decides to open, I can show you the clock app. The clock app on iOS has 3 different parts. It's got a world clock, it's got alarms, and it's got some stopwatch, I think, right? All these are different aspects of the same app, but they will not link to one another. Okay, you don't expect to go from world clock to alarm. You don't expect to go from, where's my clock? Where's my clock? Okay, excuse me. Clock app. Oh, there's no clock app. Okay, there's no clock app in the simulator. Thank you so much. All right, never mind. Maybe the watch app, I guess. The watch app also has tabs. Okay, sure. Okay, so these are okay, never mind, forget it. All right, so just imagine right? A few tabs at the bottom and they don't link to one another because they show different aspects of the same app. If it's WhatsApp, for example, your favorites, okay, sometimes you can get from one to another, right? But in general, you expect when you tap on one of the tabs, it will go there and it will retain your place. Okay, so that's what the tab bar does. Okay, so when you deal with all this, there are some terms that come in. Okay, so wait, this slide should be here. Okay, so for example, push will bring in a new screen on your screen. Okay, it will bring out the previous screen. So this is a push and that is a pop. Okay, those of you who have done data structures in computer science, it's the same idea. All right, pop to top, which sounds very fun, it actually just brings you to the top screen of the stack and then there's replace. Okay, so let me admit some people who might have thought it was 2 o'clock. Sorry, yeah, we started at 1:30. All right, apologies. Okay, and yeah, so essentially the tab navigator will only display one screen at a time. It will show evenly divided sections and it will have platform specific layout, animation, and gestures. Okay. All right, so let's add some React navigation to our app. All right, so what I'm going to ask you to do is to try and follow along if you can, right? If you can't, don't worry, right? If you can't, don't worry. You can just watch and watch me yelling at the screen for 3 hours and join our quiz at the end because there's a quiz at the end and there are prizes to be won. Okay, but first things first, I'm going to head over to React Navigation's website and it's going to tell us how to get started with React Native. Okay, so first of all, it's like prerequisites of React Native. No need. We've done the prerequisites. Okay. It does require Expo of type 41. All right. And it does ask you if you use TypeScript, right? TypeScript is a flavor of JavaScript created by Microsoft, which makes JavaScript a little bit safer to work with, right? Got type safety and stuff. Okay. All right. Now, this part, you need to actually install a module before you can use it. Okay. So you actually need to install. Now, those of you who are following on Expo Snack, you might be like, hey, I cannot follow this part anymore. Not true. You can install stuff inside here as well, right? The way you do that is by going to, I need to check because I haven't done this part in a while. All right, I haven't had to work with this for installing things for a while. I'm trying to remember where it is. Okay, give me a second. Very embarrassing, but it's okay. All right, so show embed, download as zip, run on device. No. Okay, hang on. It's Expo 47. Yep, devices. Nope. Preview. Nope. All right. It might be a thing where you actually have to type it in over here, which is a little bit troublesome. Okay, so maybe Marcus, if you have a chance to help me look it up, right? If you could just help me check how can we install modules on Expo Snack, right? I don't remember a good way other than typing it in over here, which is not the best way to do things. Okay. Nope. Okay, so no good answer for you right now. Those of you who are trying to use Expo Snack on this is also partly why we recommend shifting over to the desktop. Okay, so let's say you're on the desktop. Okay, great. Let's try and install this. Okay, so I'm going to install into a, so when you look through this, you have to look through the examples. Okay, so first of all, you need to install this React Navigation /native. Sure. Go over here, right? Then you realize, I cannot type inside here, right? This is actually the stuff being run. Okay, you can press Command T to open a new tab if you're on Mac. You can press Control T to open it if you're on Windows, on the terminal. Alternatively, some people like to use the terminal directly within Visual Studio Code. Okay, Visual Studio Code has its own terminal. You can just go to Terminal, New Terminal, or Control Shift Backtick. Okay, and you can actually type stuff in here as well, right? So I'm going to install it over here, npm install React Navigation /native. What that does is it will fetch a whole bunch of packages and install them into this folder called node modules. Okay, once again, can probably ignore the vulnerabilities for now. Okay, so it's done, right? This is considered success. Okay, no red error message, it means considered success. Added 11 packages and audited 1591 in 6 seconds. Well done. Okay, so that's step one, right? It's got these core utilities. And right now they're asking you to install a bunch of stuff, right? And I think it's safe for us to install this. So let's follow this. So it says npx expo install React Native screens, React Native safe area context. So I'm just going to install these. Okay, so a lot of it is just trying to follow instructions and getting going. Okay, so that's good. It added more packages, and all these will land inside this folder called node modules, which is full of stuff. Okay, just don't look inside. It's very scary. Okay, these are all the things that are required for your project to run. All right, so now if you keep going down, they'll tell you, okay, now you need to wrap the whole app inside a navigation container. Okay, so usually you do this in an entry file such as index.js or app.js. If you see anything like index.js, that's because React Navigation is not just for React Native, right? It can also apply for React projects. Okay, so what you're going to do is they want you to put this inside here, right? App navigation container. So for us, our starting file is over here. Is oops, remind me later. All right, so go down over here, and I'm going to close this terminal. Oops, no, open a new one. Close the terminal. And I need to actually wrap the whole thing inside a navigation container, right? But first I need to import this thing. Import navigation container. All right. And now I'm going to say navigation container. Put this inside here. Okay. All right. So notice that my stuff automatically re-indents and everything. That's because I have Prettier running. And in Prettier, there's a setting where you can tell it to automatically update on save. All right, so you can turn it on by going to your Visual Studio Code settings, and you can search for save if I'm not wrong. Oh, I can't type because Zoom has captured. Okay, so if you format on save, right? Format a file on save. Okay, and what it does is the moment you press save, your Prettier will activate. Okay, so that's nice. All right, so now I followed what they want, and now I have this navigation container ready to go. All right, so let's keep going. All right, so now if you want to install a stack, hang on, the first thing I want to do is that I want to install a stack, or do I want to install a, actually no, I want you all to install a tab first. Okay, so we can leave this aside for a moment, all right? And let's try and get to the React Navigation tabs. Okay, you know what, let's just, everything has changed again, so hang on now. React navigation, bottom tabs. Okay, bottom tab navigator, right? This is the one I want. All right, so down here, you just want this little tab thing, okay? And you can follow instructions here. We need to npm install React navigation / bottom tabs. Okay, so let's do that. So install React navigation / bottom tabs. Okay, all right, so what we want from here is, let me see if there's anything else this thing needs from me. I don't think so. Okay. And now what I want is I want to actually just grab some of their example code, okay, which is over here. All right, so example code is down here. And here's a bunch of stuff. Okay, right. So please ignore the stuff I followed just now, right? I didn't mean to start on that first, right? I actually meant to start on this. So the good thing is all you need to do is to just copy this entire thing. Right, copy this entire thing. And let's take a look at the thing over here. Let's save it. Okay, what that does is it will update this entire thing, and now you have your tabs. Very nice, very fast. Okay, so now I have two pages. One is a home page and one is a settings page. Okay, home says home exclamation mark, and there's a home at the top. Settings says settings exclamation mark, and there's the word settings at the top. How did this happen? Okay, let's take a look at the stuff that we pasted. Those of you who are trying to follow along, right, once again, let me get you this link over here. All right, and you can follow the instructions from the chat. Okay. All right, so what's going on here? Right, what's going on here? What you need to see from here is just a few things. Over here, it says function home screen, right? You know what that means, right? Function home screen means this is a screen, okay? And all the stuff that you make are all functional components, okay? They're called functional components, not because they work, but because they are functions, okay? I mean, they work as well. All right, so this is the home screen. It returns a view with the word home exclamation mark. This is the settings screen. It returns a view with the word settings exclamation mark. Tying it all together is our app over here, okay? And the way it works is you create this tab called create bottom tab navigator. Then you create a navigation container, which we did just now already, okay? But instead of having your hello world, you have this thing called tab.navigator. Inside here, you have tab screen, home, name home, and component home screen, and tab screen, name settings, component settings screen. Okay, so let's take a look at it. What happens when you change some of these things? If I change this from home to main page, okay, notice what happens down here is a bit small, right? This thing down here changes to main page. Up here, it changes to main page. Okay, component equals to home screen will just refer to this little function right here. Okay, it's just trying to grab whatever this thing is giving back to us. All right, so far so good. Okay, let's give everyone a few minutes to digest this real quick. All right, what I'm going to do for this project is I'm going to push it to GitHub. All right, I'm going to push this to GitHub so that if you want to follow along, you can actually go and see it on GitHub. Okay, so let me do that real quick. Git status. Okay, so git add dot. I have some shortcuts. Git commit -m set up basic app. Okay, and I need to put this on my GitHub. So let me go to GitHub real quick. Okay, not in this browser. Let me go over here. Let me log in and I will put it on my GitHub for you. Okay, so let me put this over here. Okay, so I hope you are vaguely familiar with Git and GitHub. If you're not, it's something that you might want to look into, especially since you're working collaboratively on a project. Okay, so it's a place to store code. I'm going to create a new GitHub repository. I'm going to say code exp. Let's say code exp 23 info app. Okay, all right, so demo info app. Code exp 2023 will come. All right, I'm going to make it public so you can all view it. All right, and I'm just going to have no license, nothing, create repository. I want a blank repository because then I can just push an existing repository from the command line. I'm going to copy this and paste it inside here. Okay, so yes, please. All right, thank you. I'm signed in. Okay, and there we go. Okay, great. Now if I refresh this page, okay, all my stuff is over here. Okay. All right, so that's my current project on Discord. Okay, I've this is the info app, so you can refer to this as I go along. Okay, Joshua has a question. How do you open up the web preview? When you first start your Expo app, then we can go back up here. I did npm run web, okay, which will actually go ahead and start the web preview. If you didn't do that, if you try another method like npm start, npx expo start or things like that, you can actually just press W over here. If I press W, it will try and force open another web browser with the preview. Okay, so you can actually try that. All right. Okay, do let us know if you have any other questions, right? If I miss anything, I think my colleagues will be able to help us out. Oops, I just closed the new web preview. Okay, so let me do that again because it opened it up and then I closed it. I managed to amazingly close it. Here it is. Okay, so I just opened it up again. All right, so for me, I'm just going to resize it. And you know what? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to full screen this. Right, I'm going to full screen this thing, and I'm going to full screen this. Add this to my full screen as well. I'm gonna add it over here. Okay, so yeah, this is a bit better, right? This is one of those full screen things available on macOS, right? So now I have, I can actually look at both of my things. All right. Okay. All right. So I hope that helps. And once again, if you need the code, you can head over here. All right. So let me continue. Where was I? Let me close some stuff. Okay. All right. Here we go. Okay, so this stuff I think still more or less applies. Okay. There you go. Here's what you do on Expo Snack. If you're on Expo Snack, you just skip this step and import. Okay, you just literally paste in this code and Expo Snack will try its best to figure it out for you. Okay, so try it out. Okay, so now I guess it's not too bad, but I'm not very happy with this. Okay, the reason why I'm not very happy with this is because I have 3 views in one screen. Okay, I have the main view, I have a home screen, and I have the setting screen in one view. Okay, so I'm going to take this chance to reintroduce the concept of creating components, right? Which you might recall from the earlier session if you were there. And if you weren't there, it's okay, right? Let me just go through it right now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder called components. Okay, that's the new button for components. And I'm going to make a new file inside it. First one, I'm going to call it home screen. Okay, home screen. Then I'm going to go grab this thing over here, grab home screen and paste it over here. Okay, and press save. Right. Now this thing won't work out of the box. All right. It's not as though you just put it over here and you're done. There are some things you need to adapt. Okay. So first things first, you need to also import React. You also need to import the components that you use. In this case, I use view and text. So I'm going to say import text, view from React Native. Okay. All right. So note I type and I press save, it will automatically format it for you. Pretty nice. Okay. The last thing I need to do is I need to actually export defaults on this in order to open it up on another file. Okay, so this is what my home screen looks like right now. It's got a whole bunch of stuff that's exported and all ready to go. Okay, this is a fully functional component. Anyone can use it. So I'm going to ask app.js to use it. I'm going to get rid of home screen from here. And I'm going to say import home screen from, okay, remember this directory structure thing? I'm in this folder. I need to go into components/home screen. So /components, right? By all means, use the autocomplete, press tab /home screen. Okay, then press save. The prettier has added the semicolon for me, and I've managed to add home screen to my thing. Okay, I am not sure why this thing is giving me a blank screen, right? So that's a bit worrying. Let's go check my thing over here. Seems fine. All right, so this sometimes happens, right? For some reason, my preview has decided to stop loading, which is a little bit worrying, right? But let me just check real quick. I don't think I've done anything wrong because I import home screen. Okay, and I have a component home screen over here. Let me just comment this out. Okay. Okay, so there's something a bit off. Okay, I seem not to be able to do anything about my home screen. Okay, let me see if I can figure out what's wrong. /component/home screen. All right, this thing is saved, home screen. Right, and I don't see any errors, right? So I have to go down here, see if I have any errors over here. Okay, so the nice thing about this is that if you're on the web, right, if you want to see any errors, you can see over here. Okay, in the down here, but let's see if I can find the error. Okay, oh, great, interesting. All right, give me a second. Okay, so I'm going to go to okay, weird. All right, so let me just check to make sure what's wrong. Home screen is here. Home screen is here. All right. So yeah, if anyone can figure it out, do let me know. All right. So happy for help, right, on these kinds of things. Okay. So don't worry if it's been me. I've been talking for like 3.5 hours, man. So if you have any ideas, right, do let me know. I don't see any particular issues. Right. So function import home screen from /component/home screen. Okay. App.screen name equals to home screen. Interesting. All right. So give me a moment. Let me go check it out. See what interesting mistake I seem to have made this time. Oh, there's someone in the chat. Homescreen.js. In theory, I don't need homescreen.js, but you know what? Let's just try it anyway. Nope, didn't give me. Thanks though. Thanks for suggesting. Right, someone DM'd me. What home screen /component/home screen. Okay. Nope. No ideas. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to preview it on the iOS. Sorry. Oh, I see. You're right. Okay. Thank you very much for everyone who pointed it out by DM. Okay, it's because this thing is fine whether you have a JS or not. This thing is not fine. I did not put a JS. Did I put a JS? Let me just check. Right, rename. I might not have put a JS over here. Yes, you're right. Thank you, everyone. Oh my goodness. Total skill issue on my end. Thank you so much. I feel like if you all don't mind, I'll just let people know the clever people who have pointed it out. All right, Yanqi, Zixin, and Wuzhen. Thank you so much. All right, yeah. So what happened was when I created my file, right, I was like, oh yeah, I don't need to put .js because over here I'm used to not putting .js, right? Then I was tricked by the fact that they put a JS icon next to my thing. I was like, what the? Okay, but yes, okay. Thank you so much. When you create your new file, please make sure that there is a .js over there. Thank you so much, everyone who helped me figure this out. I was very confused for a long time. Okay, so this happens, right? This happens. Thank you for all your help. All right. Every year I have this weird mistake. One year I forgot to git add or something like that, and I couldn't figure out why my stuff wasn't getting pushed online. Okay. Anyway, let's do the same thing for settings screen. This time, let's do it properly. Okay. Settings screen .js. Thank you. All right, let's go over to here. Let's go grab settings screen. Okay, and it's probably got the same imports as home screen. So I'm just going to put that over here. Okay, and finally add export default, save this over here. Down here, I just need to import settings screen from, and wow, it managed to autocomplete the entire thing for me. That's nice. Okay, this time round, it seems not to have gone blank, right? There's no such error. Okay, so thank you everyone who helped me out. All right, I am a little concerned that I'm not seeing any errors on screen, which is kind of annoying, right? Kind of annoying. It's then you kind of need to like kind of figure it out, right? So I believe it's inside the console over here. All right, But afterwards, during the break, let me take a moment to try and figure out where the errors are. Okay, because on Expo Snack, right? If you're on Expo Snack, you know that if you type something wrong, it will happily complain at you very loudly over here, right? If you just change this to SD style, it will happily complain like mad. I'm looking for this, but for local development. Okay, so give me a moment and I will try and find it. Okay, thanks everyone. All right, so before we call for a short break, okay, I'm going to go and update these icons, okay, because these icons are no good. Okay, actually, you know what? Before I do that, let's have another screen lah. Okay, so I'm going to have 3 screens. Let's have a settings screen, a home screen, and let's have another one called an events screen, perhaps. Right, so new file, right, events screen.js. Okay, and same thing, I'm just going to copy and paste this whole thing. Right, so I'm going to rename this events, right? So it's a nice thing about Visual Studio Code is that there's a whole bunch of things you can do. You can press Command D to have multiple cursor. I'm going to change this both to events at the same time. Okay, so now back in app.js, I am going to copy and paste this, and instead of settings screen, select the word settings, Command D to select the second one, Control D on Windows, and change this to events screen. Right, and down here, let's put the event screen before the settings screen, right? So, all right, so what this does is it gives us another tab, right? So we now have home, events, and settings. Maybe change this back from in page to home. Okay, so that's so far so good. Let's go add some icons because right now our icons look pretty sad, right? They're these little inverted triangles. Okay, so there's a nice little website for you called icons.expo.fyi, okay, which is a website, or rather, it's actually an app, I think, kind of. I'm sure it's written in React Native. It's a website where you can actually go and grab and use icons. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of free icon families available for you. You can click on the filters. You can see there's end design and typo, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so they're pretty nice. Okay, you can filter by certain font libraries that you like. Okay, I like Font Awesome in particular. But yeah, let me send this link over to the chat as well. Okay, so that's the icon library that you can use. Free icons, no need to make your own. Okay, so let's take a look at one of these, right? So let's say I go to Font Awesome. If I go to Glass, right, and they'll tell you how to use it, right? You need to import it first, and then you just need to render the component. Okay, so presumably all these are available in Expo/vector icons, which should be installed with your Expo installation. If not, we can install it separately. Okay, so let's do that. All right, so let's try this. Let's go find a home, I guess. You can tap on this home, okay, or house. Okay, home. Okay, tap on this. You need to import Font Awesome. So you can just click on copy over here, go down here, press paste. Okay, so save this. If it doesn't report any errors, that's good. Next, you need to actually render the component. I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to, you know what, let's paste it into one of the home screens first. Okay, so I'm going to paste it over here first, and which means that here I need to also import the thing as well. All right, so there you go. Right now I've managed to put the icon inside here. Okay, and the nice thing about this is that you can change a bunch of stuff. You can change this to 90, you can change this to red, right? It's a simple little component that you can customize very easily. Okay, so that's one. Now, the problem here is that this is not where I wanted it. I wanted it down here in my tab bar. Okay, so this part, right, this part, there's some documentation for it. Let me show you the documentation. All right, so documentation is here. If you go to the documentation for how to change the icons, it's a little bit complex, all right? But I think we have a simpler version for you. So documentation looks like this, right? Under customizing the appearance, if you want to set a tab bar icon, it's got this entire giant thing, okay? This is your tab navigator, right? This corresponds to this one liner over here has evolved into this giant monster, okay? This monster says screen options equals to route, tab bar icon, focus color size, that icon name, blah, 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 blah. Okay. This is one of the better, this is a good way to set it, right? But we find that this is a little bit much. Okay, so we have a slightly less complex version, all right, that I can use to show you. Okay. Right, here we go. Okay, so this one over here, all right, Okay, so we've been updating this throughout, all right? So if you can just grab this, replace your tab navigator line with it, okay, and press save. All right, so what that does is you can see that it actually changes some of the stuff already. Okay, so let me show you how it works, but also let me send this link into the Discord. Okay, so what's going on inside here? All right, so there's a lot to unpack over here. Screen options is the prop for your tab bar navigator. All right, simple enough. Inside here, if you look at the color coded curly braces on my Visual Studio Code, okay, this thing over here takes in a function. Okay, it takes in a function. All right, and inside here it actually renders. It actually takes in some additional. It takes in more options, JSON options. Okay. So what's happening here is that it's actually taking in a function that renders something based on the route that it's in. Route is which of the tabs is in. Okay. So each of the tab bar icons, based on whether it's focused, color, or size, will decide what icon to have in these 4 lines over here. Okay. So look carefully. It says if route.name is equals to home, then icon name equals to home. Else, if route.name equals to events, and we use triple equals because we're in JavaScript, okay, it's a standard thing, icon name equals to list. So if I want to update settings, okay, if I want to update settings, I can first go find an icon over here. Let's say settings, don't have gear. I got gear. Okay, so let's go grab this. The name is called gear. Okay, look carefully for this, just this name gear. Okay, so then I'm going to say else if route.name triple equals to settings, icon name equals to gear. Okay, and that should cover it, right? Because what's happening here is that it's just trying to decide based on a couple of levels of indirection to just like kind of figure out what to display. Okay. At the same time, there are other options. Okay, so the first option over here was really just the tab bar icon. Right, so this entire chunk is for tab bar icon. Okay, then the second thing was what color is it when it's active? I wanted it to be tomato color. Okay, or you can make it red if you want. Okay, now it's a slightly different color. Okay, inactive color is currently gray. I can make it blue if I want, right? Which doesn't look very good. So I'm going to go back to gray. Okay, so these are all the options to do with the tab bar icon. Okay, it's a lot of code for something that should be fairly simple, okay, but it's also not too difficult to understand once you have the code available. All right, so I'm going to take a break at this point. I'm going to give you a break, spend some time for you to digest all this if necessary. What I'm going to do is I'm going to push this change over to GitHub, right? So git commit -am, which is add and commit. I'm going to say added tab bar icons, and I'm going to, push the change. Okay, so I've uploaded it. Those of you who are following along in the video, right, if you want to actually see a previous version, right, hopefully you know how to do that on GitHub. Let me just pull it up on GitHub, github.com/yjsoon/exp-info-app. And down here, you can go to my commits, and you can see these are the different versions that I have: basic tab app and added tab bar icons. This is the last version that we had. These are the changes. If you want to just view the version by itself, you can just click on this and you can go and see my app.js. Okay. Whereas the latest version, you want to go back to the homepage of this thing and you can browse it from there. By the time you watch this video, I would have pushed up a lot more different versions. All right, but if you want, you can always look at the difference between the versions by clicking on the commits and clicking on the title over here. It will show you what has changed across the commit. Okay, so I think it's about time for everyone to take a short break from all this. We haven't done a lot, I feel, all right, but we've covered quite a bit of new ground, right? We've installed a bunch of stuff, we've set things up, and we've gotten a whole layout all done. Okay, so we'll resume in about, let's give ourselves about 6 minutes or so. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Once again, thanks to those who figured out my super blur error just now. Okay, Also, I did not commit properly. Okay, I did not commit all my files. So yeah, added all the files. Oops. Okay. Okay, now I've committed and pushed everything. All right, now everything should be complete. Okay, all right, let's take a short break and we will resume in a bit. I can't show my timer if this thing is on screen, so you just have to take my word for it. 6 minutes, okay? All right, folks, I'm back. I spent a bit of time just looking up the web debugging thing, right? Web really is I really do prefer using the web thing for debugging. Unfortunately, it might not be your best bet when it comes to actually just seeing what's going on screen. Okay, like just now that embarrassing mistake where I couldn't find home screen.js. Okay, I couldn't get any information out of this, and yeah, it just wasn't a very good experience overall. So let me just show you real quick, right? So this is what happens, right, when you try and open up your inspector inside any Chrome-based browser, okay? And if I make a mistake, let's say over here, instead of navigation container, I type nav, okay, I press save, all right? What's going to happen is that, well, okay, prettier doesn't, okay, never mind. Let's say navigation container, let's just try to make a mistake, like screen option, okay? If I press save, all right, it's not going to tell me any issues, right? Okay, that's because it's let me try and find something. Okay, like let me put a text over here. Hi. Okay, if I save this, all right, Prettier is going to complain because Prettier has its own way of figuring things out. Let me see if I can toggle some kind of error. Nope, I cannot. Okay, you know what? I'm going to go back to the same error just now, right? Going to rename this to home screen. Save this, okay, and stuff goes haywire. All right, so this is the error that you get, right, which is not nearly as descriptive as we'd like it to be. Okay, it doesn't really tell me anything. Okay, it says something about home screen, which hopefully tells me that something went wrong in the home screen, I guess. Okay, but it's really not a very descriptive error message. Okay, so let's contrast this with if I run this on the iOS simulator. So let me just try that real quick, right? Let me just head over to the iOS simulator and press I. Okay. Oh, there we go. Wait. What? Okay, so these are some of the errors that will pop up. Okay. But that's not what I was looking for. That didn't give us the error that we wanted just now. If I press I, it will open up my iOS simulator and it will open Expo Go for me. It will install this Expo Go app and it will put it inside here for me. All right, so let's take a look at what that has to offer. It didn't launch it for me, but let me just launch it real quick. And what it does is it should try to attach the project onto this screen as well. Okay, so let me just show you this, take a chance to show you this as well. Okay, so it didn't quite manage to get my thing. Let me just press I one more time. Okay, so it's going to try very hard to open the project, and there you go. Right, now this is slightly more useful, I think. Okay, unable to resolve module /components/home screen. Okay, if we had seen this, okay, I think maybe we would have found out a little bit earlier what the issue was. Okay, but yeah, so that's one of the disadvantages of working with your web interface. I've been looking it up. I haven't found any good ways around it. I think you can try installing some of the other debuggers, such as the React Native debugger and things like that. Okay, it's got yeah, it might work, but you know what? Give me some time. I'll see if I have a better answer for you tomorrow. Okay. The reason why I've been avoiding using this is because it's a bit heavy, lah, right? It's got a lot of stuff. And those of you on the Mac, if you don't do iOS development, asking you to install 10 gigs for just this simulator seems like a bit of a waste. Similarly for Android. On Android, if you want to get the emulator working, right, there's a lot of stuff to install. Okay, and Android Studio is kind of big and resource intensive. Right, so is the emulator. Okay, you could try running it on your actual device, which is an option as well. If you just scan the QR code, as long as you're on the same Wi-Fi network, you should be able to run it on your device. So that could be one option for us. Okay, I just wanted to take a moment to go through that real quick. All right, but for now, let's make do with this and let's not make silly mistakes like this. Thank you so much to everyone who helped me out with that just now. So let me rename this .js. Okay, and we are back. Okay, so where were we? Where were we? We had just created the tab bar. Okay, we had just added in some icons. I hope you know, if you had the time, I hope you actually went and adjusted the icons yourself to whatever icons you wanted for your app. Okay, and yeah, right. Let's take a moment to quickly understand the code. Right, that code is very hairy and complex. So I will. Let me reload this file. What's going on? It's fine. Okay, slide number 31. Okay, so we simplified the code a bit. So we over here, right, notice that we use parameter destructuring. Okay, I told you just now this morning about array destructuring. So let's say you have 3 things in an array, right? 0, 1, 2. Okay, you can destructure them into square bracket something. You can do the same thing for parameter destructuring. That means whatever you get out of this, okay, this little this actually has a parameter of which with 3 components in it: parameter.focused, parameter.color, and parameter.size. If you only care about the stuff inside, you destructure it using this syntax. Okay, we only care about the color and size lah, but focus we just we will show you. I'll show you how to use it in a moment. Okay, over here, this icon name, right? We just created an uninitialized variable. Okay, and we set it based on this if statement. And finally, we return the full icon to whoever asked for it with the props filled in. Okay, so I hope that kind of makes sense. All right. So what else do we need to do? What if I want to use the focused thing? Right. So let me just show you. Right. So focused. Okay, so let's say, right. Let's say I click over here. I want my home icon to look a little bit different if it's not focused. Okay. Let me see if I have a something else I can use for that. So let me go to my where is my icons .expo.fyi. Okay, let me go to home. Okay, so no, I want to use a font awesome. Okay, so you want to use other icon sets, you're going to have to change the import. Okay, so this one, no. Let's go to person. Let's check user. Okay, good. So this one, right, there's a user and there's a user O. Okay, this is the outline. Okay, so you might want it to look like this. Okay, so let me bear with me a bit. I know this doesn't make sense. Okay, so let's say this is user. Okay, so if I save this, right, it will update. Okay, but maybe I want it such that when it's not clicked on, it's just an outline. Okay, so I want it to be user O. Okay, so earlier today, right, we got a suggestion. Hey, could we use the ternary operator for something, right, for conditional rendering? Yeah, we can do that here as well. Okay, so this is where I can use the focused the focused parameter. If it's focused, I'm going to choose user. Otherwise, I'm going to choose user-o. Okay, so let me save this. You'll notice that now is when it's not focused, it's the outline. If I tap on it, it will be the filled in version. Okay, so that's one example of using the ternary operator, and that's one possibility lah, right? If you really care about how it looks in that sense. Okay, I'm just going to leave that thing as this icon. Okay, let's move on to stack navigation. All right, so homepage, right? Assume that homepage is going to have maybe a picture and something or another, right? So second page is your event screen. So event screen, maybe you have a button to tap here to find out more or something like that. Okay, so I'm going to customize my event screen, right? But first, let me just push up this change, right? Git commit -am updated with updated settings icon. Git push. Okay, so now let's go to event screen. Event screen is currently just a single screen. The way I want to change it is I want to use my my stack navigation. Okay, so let's do that. Import create stack navigator. Oh, sorry. I haven't actually installed it yet. So I need to go down here. I need to go and install React Navigation /stack. So I'm going to go out and find my thing down here. npm install React Navigation /stack. Okay, so this is a new thing where you will allow you to create stack navigators. Okay, so let's give it some time. You'll install, and when it's done, it will complain about some vulnerabilities, but that's fine. Up here, I'm going to install it, create stack navigator from React Navigation /stack. Okay, so what does that do? right? It lets us create a stack. A stack is kind of like, a deck of cards, right? You build it up by putting cards one on top of another, okay? So I'm going to make some changes to this event screen. I'm going to make event screen no longer the default export. Okay, I'm not going to make this the default export anymore. All right, and down here, I am going to change this such that I create a stack. Okay, it's very similar to the tab navigator, and I'm going to export default and events stack. Okay, this event stack, I'm going to return open bracket. I'm going to have a stack.navigator. Oops. Right? And oops, sorry. And inside here, I'm going to have a stack.screen where the name equals to events home and the component equals to events screen. It's a self-closing tab. Okay, so there's a lot going on here. If I click on this, right, you're going to see that it's got this weird thing where it's got two titles, right, which is a bit strange. We'll fix that in a moment. Okay, but what's happening? This is a stack navigator, which allows us to swap in the thing inside, right? So this is just one card inside the stack, right? Event screen, what used to be event screen is just one card inside the stack. Okay. Now, what happens is if I'm going to add more cards to this, and I'm going to allow event screen to navigate over to other screens. The way I did that was I changed the default export to this guy down here, event stack, rather than event screen. And to app.js, it truly didn't notice. Okay, app.js still thinks that I'm getting event screen, which is perfectly fine. Okay, your export over here does not need to have the same name as the imported version. Okay, it's like I export this thing into the world, all right, and other people can call it whatever they want. Okay, so that's what happened over here. My export is now a stack, but inside I still refer to this as event screen. That's okay, right? That's okay. All right. So what we're going to do now is we are going to get rid of the header down here. Let's get rid of this header, right? You can get rid of either one, right? Let's get rid of this one. Let's say options equals to, and here's your double curly brace again. One curly brace to switch to JavaScript mode, another curly brace to give it a JSON object of options. So the option is header shown :false. All right. When I save Prettier, I decided that, hey, you tried to fit too many things on one line. I will move this into many lines for you. Okay, so it now says name equals events home, but the header shown is false. So down here, I only see the header for this guy over here. Okay, or rather, I only see the header that's that for the thing outside. Okay, I'm not seeing the header of this stack. Okay, wait a minute. Sorry, I got it wrong. Okay, my bad. I don't want to put it here, right? I want to put the header shown false down in app.js. Okay, so over here. Right, so right now I see this. Okay, I'm going to put header shown equals to false on this guy so that, yes, I see events home. Okay, sorry, I made a mistake. So once again, if you didn't catch that, there's this thing called options. There's this prop called options. Okay, and it takes in a JSON object of various things such as header shown. Right, you can disable the header either at the tab level, okay, or at the stack level. I don't want to disable at the stack level because I want each of these stack items to have their own title page. Okay, so I'm going to call this events home, maybe with a space. All right, then down here, this will say events home. But if I show another page inside this stack, I will want it to have its own name. Okay, so let me just quickly set up another screen. Okay, but you know what? Let me push this up first. Let me push this up first. So git add dot git commit -m updated events screen to events stack. Okay, so now the latest version is on GitHub. You can follow along there, especially if you're watching online, right? You just need to go and find that particular commit name, right? Which was updated event screen to event stack. Okay, so I'm going to add a new screen. I'm going to add a new screen so that we can actually press a button and go to a new screen. Okay, so how do we make a button? Right, there's two ways, right? There's the button and there's a touchable opacity. Okay, if you don't feel like you need to style the button, you can just use a regular button. So let's just do that. So button. Okay, regular button. And down here, I'm going to say button equal on press equals to open curly brace. Okay, and title equals to go to next screen. Button actually is a self-closing tag. I'm going to press save. Right, I'm going to go down here, and there is no button because it complains that this thing over here does not have anything inside. Okay, so we need to give it a function to run. If you want to define the function inside here, do you remember what to do? You need to open bracket, close bracket, arrow, open curly brace, close curly brace. Okay, it's a very strange sequence over here, but this is essentially an empty function, right? This is an empty function that does absolutely nothing, but it will compile, okay? It will allow us to have a button that goes to next screen. It does nothing right now, okay? But at least it'll compile, okay? So this thing over here is shorthand in JavaScript for a function with no body and no arguments, okay? How do we actually get it to go to the next screen? Here's what you do. Inside event screen will receive a bunch of props because it is inside a stack, okay? You receive a bunch of props. Usually you do props like that, okay? And if you remember our AM lesson, right, when we receive a bunch of props, we said props.color, props.font size, props.etc. Okay. Instead of that, there's so many props that I don't care about all of them. I'm going to put a curly brace over here. I'm going to destructure out a prop called navigation. Okay, it's received a navigation prop. All right, it's received a navigation prop. And this navigation prop has all the functionality that we need to navigate to the next screen. So I'm going to say navigation.navigate, and then go to events second screen, something like that. Okay, this is an error for now because we don't have event second screen. But let me just show you real quick. If I tap on this, right, nothing will happen. Okay, because we haven't defined event second screen. But I've created a button that can let me navigate there. Now I just need to create a second screen. Okay, so let's go make our second screen. Second screen, I'm just going to be lazy and put it inside this file. I could make a separate file for it. All right, it's up to you. I'm just going to say function events screen 2. Okay, JavaScript is this thing where if you don't need to use the arguments, you can just leave them out of the function definition. Okay, that's perfectly normal. Right, so I'm going to say return text. Hello, this is the second screen, exclamation mark. Okay, so it's a very boring second screen. By the way, notice when I save, right, I specifically added round brackets around it. But when I save, Prettier is like, you don't need those. So it decided to remove them for me. Okay, if it's a single item, you don't need to put your brackets around it. Single line especially. Okay, so now I need to add the new screen. So stack.screen, name equals to events page 2, component equals to events screen 2. Right, there's a bit of inconsistency. Let me go change this to events page 2 as well. Okay, let's see whether this works. Right, so down here, events, go to next screen, click on it, and now, hello, this is the second screen. Right, if I press back, it will just go back to the previous page. There's no animation for this screen because this happens to be on the web. Right, it doesn't have any nice built-in animations. Right, people just kind of expect the page to show up. So once again, go to next screen. This will go search the stack for something else of the same name. What happens when it finds it? It will render it on screen, and it will automatically give you a back arrow to go to the previous screen. Okay, let me show you this in iOS because we happen to have our iOS navigator open, right? So let me see if I can. So if you're on one of these devices, right, if you're stuck in an error, you can press Command R to reload, right? It will try its best to reload for you. Excuse me. Wait, it's recording. Why is it recording? Oh my goodness, it's been recording for the last like half an hour. Okay, but let me just record real quick. Okay, I suspect I need to install a few more things before it can actually work on iOS. Okay, so I might not be able to show you that right now. Also, why does it keep recording? Or because I press Command R. Okay, Command R is unfortunately the same keyboard shortcut as recording as it is to reload. Okay, but never mind. Right, looks like I can't really show you on iOS. Okay, but if you do have a mobile device, right, you can just actually go scan your QR code inside the terminal. Right, see whether you can get that. See what it looks like. Okay, I just triggered my Siri for some reason. Okay, all right, so next screen, previous screen, next screen, previous screen. So you can hopefully imagine how you can build simple prototypes with this, right? In the context of a hackathon, just be aware that you don't need to build every single screen. Okay, you don't need to build every single screen, but you must be able to demonstrate the purpose and value of your screen, of all your features, and you might need to go through some screens to get there. One of the things I always tell people who are building for hackathons is you don't need to spend, a ton of time making sure your login works. Okay. I can tell you this is not that type of hackathon where we care a lot about you passing your phone to the judge and getting them to try it out. Okay. You can demo it yourself. Okay. If you're confident enough, then by all means pass the phone to the judge. But if you can demo it yourself, that means there's a lot of stuff that you can do on your own, right? You can just tap as necessary, right? You can just tap any username, any password, press enter. If it goes to the next screen, there you go, right? This is a great application of what we have just learned. Okay, so if you have a username and password, just anyhow type something in, press the button. The button's job is to just navigate to the next screen no matter what the user types in, right? If you don't find there's a need to actually implement a user account system, don't spend too much time on it. All right, so hopefully this helps some of you, right, save a bit of time from doing that. Okay. All right. Okay, one thing I should note, right, while we're here, I couldn't actually just put this thing directly inside here as the function. Okay, I mean, technically this is a function, right? Okay, I couldn't put this thing directly inside onPress as a function to run. For the same reason that you don't put an open bracket, close bracket inside the onPress, right? Where you saw the example earlier. Okay, because this onPress is looking for the name of a function. Right, onPress is kind of looking for the name or address of a function. It's not asking you to run that function. Okay, so my analogy for this is kind of like, you're asking your friend to bring you a cake, but instead your friend feeds you a cake. Okay, that's not what you wanted. You just wanted a cake from your friend. Okay, but your friend came over and stuffed it in your mouth, right? Not bad, this friend, but still, okay, a bit questionable. But happening here, onPress is expecting you to give it where to find this function when someone actually presses later. Just like how you are expecting to have a kick in case someone shows up later and you need to give them a kick or something like that, right? You don't want someone to come in here and shove a cake in your face and make you eat it because you want to keep it for later. That's kind of what's happening here, right? So this is a very, very, very basic JavaScript thing, right? But it's a fairly subtle, and I think it's not easy to figure out when the first few times you look at it. Okay, so this is why I kind of wrap it inside a function, an anonymous function, right? And the anonymous function's job is to run this code. Okay. All right. So, yep. Okay, so that's the second screen. All right. Let's move on to the home screen. All right, let's move on to the home screen and let's see if we can do something interesting with it. All right, let's see if we can do something interesting with it. So what we're going to do is we are going to try some of these style sheets. Okay, so over here you see that it's got some decent style, right? It looks like an Android app. Okay, if you can run it on iOS, it will look like an iOS app. Later on, okay, maybe during the break, I'll try and get my phone set up to show you what it looks like on iOS, right? I'll scan the thing and just show you Expo in action, okay? But for now, right, let's try something. I'm going to ask you to try this library called React Native Paper. Okay, React Native Paper is a material design library, which means you get all these buttons that are already created for you. Right? Remember just now we had to make our button by giving it a padding, giving it rounded corners, and then changing the color, blah, blah, blah. Okay. You can skip some of that if you don't mind using what someone else has already made. and you just customize it from there. Okay, perfectly legit. It's free. It's not plagiarism. It's not copying or anything, right? It's perfectly fine to do this. Okay, nothing in the rule says you cannot do so. All right. So yeah, pretty nice. It's free. It's open source, right? It makes an app look native. Okay. Or rather, this is a Material. Material is the Android standard UI library. Okay, doesn't quite look a lot like your doesn't quite look a lot like iOS, but not bad lah. Okay, and it will save you from typing a lot of code. Okay, over here, this is what your touchable is like. Okay, you create a touchable, or better, use the touchable rather than touchable opacity, okay, which is fine as well. Okay, and what happens is that, you know, you create all these blah 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 styles, blah 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 styles, and you, instead of React Native paper, you just import the button. Okay, you don't import the standard React Native button. You import the button from React Native paper, and you can use that, and you'll look pretty good. Okay, so yeah, that's the idea. All right, so let's try this out. I feel like it might be helpful, especially for you all, because you're doing a hackathon. Okay, you are pressed for time, right? Time and awakeness. Okay, so if anything can help you move faster, right, I think it's probably good. Okay, so just as before, right, you need to install it. Okay, so how to install? Let's go check. Right. Okay. So let's say you don't know how to install. Like, you go around, you're like, wait. What? Search for the word install. Okay. Or docs. Okay. So surely there's documentation. Yes, there is. Okay. So you click on the documentation. All right. And you can take a look. Right. You can try on Expo Snack even. Right. So you scroll down. Surely there's some documentation on how to install it. Maybe docs. Okay. There it is. Right. Need to npm install React Native paper. So I'm going to use this npm thing a lot. Okay. So I'm going to go over here, switch over here, open up my console over here. Oh, I need to upload this, right? Git add dot git commit dash m blah 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 blah. Added second events page and git. Okay, so that's the previous checkpoint. And now I'm going to npm install React Native paper. Let me just pause to tell you what actually happens when you npm install. Okay, as far as your project goes, okay, the stuff that gets uploaded to GitHub, two files change. Notice the M over here. M stands for modified. This file over here, the change is down here, right? It's added a new thing. Okay, package lock will also change. It'll just say, hey, this is the version that we should be using. Okay, it's also installed a bunch of stuff into your node modules somewhere inside this giant monstrosity of a folder. Okay, but all this stuff is not uploaded to GitHub. So when you download someone's project from GitHub, let's say you download my project from GitHub, what you need to do is you need to run npm install, and it will go through the node modules, or it will go through the package.json and install all the necessary things for you to get started. Okay, because otherwise GitHub will be flooded with thousands of gigabytes of rubbish that can just be replicated by running an install command. Okay, so that's what happens when we do that. Okay, let's go try the React Native paper. So let's try the button, shall we? Let's try the button. Okay, so let's go back to our event screen, right? Don't use button from React Native. Let's import button from React Native paper. Okay, if I save this, right, if all goes well, if nothing has changed in the last time I did it, right, it should give me a nice button. No, it does not. Now I'm very sad. Okay, so where's my button? All right, so over here, I was expecting button title. Okay, I think I know why. Because the way that the button works, right? Let me just, the way that button works is different from our React Native one. So I need to go to their website, go to components, search for button. Okay, and the way the button works is it still has on press. Okay, still correct, but it's not a doesn't have a title prop. Okay, instead it has a children. So I need to get rid of this. Change this to go to next screen /button. So if I save that, right, I should get a nice button over here. That's quite nice, quite nice. Okay, so this is the standard React Native paper button. Okay, but that's just a standard text button, right? You can change to mode equals contained. Let's try that. All right, so this is the on press prop. Let me just paste here and put a mode equals contained prop here. Okay, and take a look at that. Okay, right, not bad. It's nice and set up for me, and it's got all kinds of cool stuff. You can add an icon. Okay, I don't know what library they're using, for icon. I'm sure it's somewhere down here, but let's just try it out. Okay, so I'm just going to press enter. Icon equals to camera, right? And down here, I have a random camera icon that just popped up. I did not need to style this myself. I didn't need to design this entire button by myself. Okay, so not bad lah, huh? Not bad. There is an argument to be made for creating your UI using this type of library. Okay, in fact, right, it's even got a bunch of other stuff. You can even get a fake app bar header like this, right? If you don't happen to have it, okay. You can get title for text of a nice size. So for example, let's say this events over here, right? You want it to be of a nice size. Let's import title. I can change this to a title tag. Okay, and when I do that, now it's a nice, decent size as title. I don't need to manually set the font size every time I want something that's of a certain title. Okay. All right, so let's try a couple more of these things. Okay. Let's have a card. Okay, I want to show you card, I guess. Let me try showing you card. Okay, so card over here. Okay, a card is a sheet of material that serves as an entry point to more detailed attention. Okay, so let's grab these things over here. Let's go import all of the same things that they do and import it into our home screen. All right, so that's the home screen over here. All right, so down here, by the way, they also have text, so I don't want to import text twice. So I'm not going to import text from React Native. I'm going to import text from React Native paper. Okay, so now, for example, let's say I want to have a card. Right, I'm just going to copy this, and here's one thing. You can't do this. Right, you can't actually have more than one thing being returned at a time. Okay, you look carefully at this. You can't have a card as well as a view being returned at the same time. Okay, so clearly what I need to do is in this case, it's very straightforward. I just need to put it inside here. Okay, so now, right, oops, all right, something has gone wrong and I do not have the error, right? So that's great. Okay, so I'm going to save this and I'm just going to go head over to my iOS simulator, see whether it's managed to figure out. Okay, so I'm just going to reload this page, see whether it's got figured out. Okay, unable to resolve. Nope, that's not it. That's not the error that I was looking for. Okay. So looks like there's something else that's not quite working, right? But unfortunately, I'm not in a position to go and debug and find all the issues. Let me just check. Oh, there's no left on pen. Okay, never mind. Okay, it's just missing. It's missing something. So if I save this, right, there we go. All right, so here's a nice little card. Okay, here's a nice little card. All right, so this is a card title. It's got a card subtitle. It's got another card title followed by card content, and it's got this little thing over here. It's got cancel and okay. All right, it's just a little container that might be a nice thing. You might imagine how you can use this for carousel, right? If you're building carousel, you want to list various things out. This might be a good thing to have, right? Each of them can be a single card. Okay. All right, so that's not bad, right? And it's got its own built-in image viewer as well, where it just loads an image from somewhere on the web. Okay. Oof. All right. Anything else I wanted to show you? Let's take a look at, I'm just gonna throw random things into this page. Okay. So I'm going to show you an accordion, right? An accordion. Okay. So down here, there is a list.accordion, I think. List accordion. Okay, and accordion is one of these things which is good for like FAQs. All right, so let me just import list from React Native paper. And down here, I'm going to go grab this thing over here. Yeah, I think this is safe to grab. So it does make use of some stuff like expanded and set expanded and so on. Okay, so you know what? Let me just grab all these things. No harm. All right. So these are, I think one of the key things for this particular workshop is I just want you to be able to go online and find stuff and be able to use it. Okay. I don't expect to be able to cover a lot of stuff, but I do need to try to get you to the point where you look at this and you kind of know what's going on, right? You know that this is useState. Okay, this is slightly different from the way we did useState, but this one over here, it imported React and you use React.useState. The way we did it just now was we imported useState from React. Okay, when you do it like this, then you can just do useState. Okay, it's a bit like Python. Those of you who do Python, you know that if you from A import B, right, from A import star, right, then you can avoid doing, you can avoid typing certain things out. Okay, right. So let me leave this as another way of writing useState. Okay, and this is of course just a handle press function where it says, okay, set expanded to not expanded. Okay, so now let's go grab the code, the accordion code. And this accordion code, I'm just going to dump it below the home. Okay, and what it does is it will give you a bunch of stuff, right? So there's this control accordion where you can open and close, and this open and close action will just set the, it will just set the state variable, okay, using the expanded, using the handle press on click. Okay. And this thing is an uncontrolled accordion, which means that you just open and close it by itself. All right, there's it just, you click on one thing, right, and then the other thing will close. Okay. All right, so these are all, I think, fairly useful little components that you can display on screen. So if you find these handy, right, please feel free to use them. These are also not the only ones available, right? There are other such UI libraries available. You just need to go online and search for React Native UI library. Okay, some are better than others. Okay, so you might need to take a bit of time to look through them. Try not to mix and match. I guess they might clash with one another. Okay, especially on the same page. All right, but native base is has been around for a while and it's not bad also lah. Right, it's looks quite good. Okay, so yeah. Okay, that's there you go. Right, this is what native base looks like. Okay, so it got, yeah, themable and things like that, right? Pretty nice. Okay, so that's for this second section about theming, okay, using libraries, right? So let me just added additional added React Native paper. Okay, all right. So let's take a short break again. All right, I think I'm good on time, so I'm gonna take a bit of a break, and when we come back, we will work on we'll try a new app. Okay, right, we're gonna try a slightly different app, which is the lists app. Okay, so let's take a short break. If anyone has any questions, once again, please let us know in the chat. All right, thanks everyone. Okay, I'm awake. Okay. All right. Okay, welcome back. So I thought it would be good to just before we move on to a new project, just to point out a few things about JavaScript that are, nice and not so nice, I guess, the weird stuff. Okay, so if you recall, we had this thing about the triple equals. Okay, triple equals, and I thought it would be good to mention that real quick. That boils down to this thing about truthy falsy JavaScript. Okay, which is the weirdest thing ever to try and like say out loud. Okay. Um, so what is going on, right? If you search for truthy and falsy JavaScript, you probably find a whole bunch of errors for you. Okay, find of a whole bunch of things that will tell you more about it. Or you know what? Let's ask ChatGPT. You know what? Let's go ask ChatGPT. Let's see whether we can actually get something interesting out of ChatGPT for this. All right. So the idea is that in JavaScript, okay, not everything is as it seems, right? Can you explain truthy and falsy JavaScript to folks with a bit of knowledge about JavaScript and probably know something about other languages. Okay, so the idea here is that there are true and false in JavaScript, right? Is a bit weird. Okay, certain things are truthy in JavaScript, right? As I said here, okay, you can non-empty strings are true, okay, kind of like C, right? In C, anything that's not zero is true, right? Numbers and zero are true, except zero are true, okay? Infinity is true, negative infinity is true, all objects, all right? However, falsy values are some of these things like zero, the string zero is false, which is very strange. An empty string is false, null is false, okay? And NaN is false. Okay, so yep, so that's right. Okay, so if hello, right, this string is truthy, if zero, zero is falsy. Okay, so what problems can this solve? Can this cause? Okay, and what happens is that from here, right, there's a lot of weird behaviors. Okay, so for example, right, sometimes the string zero is truthy even though the zero is falsy. Okay, so I got it wrong, right? The string zero is truthy but the number zero is falsy. Okay, so that's fine. So that's why you have all these things about double equals and triple equals, right? So one is technically equals to the string one, okay, which is kind of ridiculous, right? If you ask most people in other programming languages, but obviously one is not strictly equals, but stop, GPT, okay, right? One is not triple equals to one in inverted commas, right? Because that is not quite the same, okay? So this is strict enough, right? Unexpected truthiness, right? The square bracket zero is for some reason true, all right? And there are falsy values in logical operations. Okay, so yeah, it's just kind of weird, right? So anyway, thanks ChatGPT. Can you explain or can you summarize all that in heavy Singlish? Let's see what happens here. Sorry, just let me get distracted a little bit. I like to get the full value out of my $20 a month subscription to GPT-4. I seem to have broken ChatGPT. So let's move on. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to make a list-based app. Okay, there are a lot of list-based apps out there. In fact, many of your favorite apps are probably list-based apps. Okay, so all your news apps, all your social media apps, all your chat apps are list-based apps. Oh, we have broken ChatGPT. Okay, anyway, let's go back. This is in a new deck of slides, right? It's under list app. Okay. I don't think I can finish this today. Let me just warn everyone a little bit, okay? But I think it's good to get started and we will sit on it and digest it a little bit. Okay, so this is what we're doing, okay? Before we continue, let me go through some key concepts, I suppose, okay? Expo, right? Expo is a toolchain, okay? It's a nice little toolchain for React Native, okay? NPM, right, is a node package manager, okay, and command line is what you do, right? This is no longer valid, so I should probably get rid of this, okay? And expo snack is what you can do, right? So expo actually provides a managed workflow. So there is such a thing as pure React Native, okay, but it's a bit troublesome lah. There's a bunch of stuff that's not done for you, Okay, so Expo makes the stuff a bit easier to use. Some modules have Expo installation instructions. Okay, so like React Navigation. So we saw React Navigation, Expo. When we looked at the installation instructions, there's there you go, right? It says, hey, if you are using Expo, if you're using Expo, please just do this very fast, very easy. Okay. If not, then you need to do all this instead, right? And then you need to port install iOS and so on and so forth. Okay. I might have missed out a step over here. That's why I can't seem to run it on iOS, but maybe I'll figure it out for the next project. Okay. All right. So it's easier to let people test your app. Okay. So if you want someone to test your app, technically you can just use the Expo app, right? They could try to, if you get it to build on the Expo server, they can scan the QR code and try it out on their app. Okay. And this one is pretty awesome, right? If you ever publish your app, right, you've probably heard about the fact that Apple has a fairly mercurial App Store approval process, right? They will randomly reject apps for strange reasons. Okay, sometimes it's valid, like you are trying to, distribute or horrible things. Okay, but sometimes they just want to protect their business interests, right? Which is what the Epic Games has been butting hits with Apple about for the last 2-3 years. Okay, so what happened was, so what usually happens is you need to submit your app to Apple, and then they'll say, no, this one cannot, reject, right? And then you will have to redo it. Okay, but if you use Expo, okay, and of course many other ways, what happens is when you publish your app, the person using your app actually downloads a shell, okay, and they receive the latest version from Expo. So what you can do is you can publish to Expo, right? Send the published version to the App Store for approval, and then behind the scenes, you can change stuff. So you don't need to resubmit in order to get it approved for future versions, which is which is probably not what Apple wants, okay? But most people don't try to go too far with this. But that's what Epic did. Epic did not use Expo, but they use their own system such that, after normally you have to buy stuff through the in-app purchase, right? You have to buy your, I don't know, Fortnite costumes or hats or whatever through the in-app purchase. They created a way around it. Apple was not happy. They kicked them off the App Store, and litigation, right? Lawyers and litigation. Okay, but for us, it's a convenience, right? It just means that, hey, we can update our app without having to go through the approval process. That's quite nice. Okay, so the Expo team themselves also have a website that say why would you not want to use Expo, right? There are good reasons, right? There are good reasons. There are some limitations. Okay, all right. So feel free to take a look at this. JSX. Let's quickly run through that. JSX is an extension to JavaScript. Okay, so far we've just used it without actually figuring out how it works. Okay, but actually it's like that, huh? View is just react.create element with something with a parameter called view somewhere. Okay, any props will become object attributes. Props will be foo equals hello, right? And interpolated JavaScript expressions will do stuff. Okay, so let's take a look, right? This is one example. On the left hand side is const a equals to view, right? That's just a JSX. On the right hand side, it will say react.create element view comma null. Okay, if you have a view foo equals hello bar equals to baz and text42 inside it, okay, it will be like this, view comma, and then it's got a JSON that it takes in. The JSON that it takes in will have foo is hello, bar is baz, and then it attaches another thing with a create element and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's what's happening behind the scenes. It's all powered by this thing called Babel, right? It's a JavaScript compiler, okay, which has also allows people to use newer versions of JavaScript on platforms that don't quite support it yet. Okay. All right, this is the stuff that we've seen earlier today. This is the double set of curly braces. All right, it lets you render inline styles with JSX. Okay, but you just need to be aware if you ever see it, it's very likely because there is a JSON object inside a JSX block, that JSX JavaScript block. Okay, a JSX JavaScript block is when you tell the JSX that, hey, it's time for me to do some JavaScript, and the inner curly braces will denote a JSON object. Okay, so that's what it looks like over here. Right, this is the ternary operator, right? The ternary operator is the one that we saw just now, right? Question mark colon. Okay, sometimes I call it the WTF operator because it can stand for what, true, false, right? WTF, that's what it stands for. Okay, All right, this part I'm not going to explain very much nowadays because the hooks have won. Okay, just by context of history, okay, if you started learning React Native about 5 years ago, right, you would have learned a very different language. This is what it would have looked like. It would say export default class app extends React component, right? And then you have to add a lot of this here and this there and stuff like that. Okay, those of you who come from Java or other heavily object-oriented languages, you will know about all this. Okay, so yeah, we don't do that anymore, right? I think the hooks have won. The hook is a new way of doing things so that you don't need to worry too much about the syntax. So used to be able to do this here, to say state equals to this, and this dot set state curly brace counter colon this dot state dot counter plus 1. That was quite gross. Okay, and you say this dot state dot counter. Now what we did is we set count, and then we just use the functions. Okay, looks a lot nicer, right? And if you ever want to find out about it, these are hooks. Okay, they are new as in, a few years ago, right? A new addition to React that allows you to use state and other React features without writing a class. Okay, no need to emphasize this too much nowadays. I used to have to tell students about this more because online there used to be a lot of code that was written in classes, right? React classes, but now almost everything is done in React functional components. So there's no more, you don't need to worry too much about that anymore. But you know what? Still useful to think about and know. Okay. All right. So hooks. Okay. Hooks. Hooks are functions that you hook into a React state and lifecycle features. Okay. They use so use state is the one they've been using more and more. Okay. So yeah. There are others. There's use effect, use reducer, use context. Okay. We'll see some of these later on, right? Probably just use effect. The rest, not so much, right? I don't think we will reach the point where we need to teach you about reducers. Props and state. Okay, you've seen me use these terms. Okay, so what's going on? Props are essentially things that you pass into a component, right? So let me just go back to here, right? So over here, back in my event screen, let me make it less crowded. Okay, so back in my event screen, when my event screen was called, it received a bunch of props. Okay, event screen, curly brace, navigation. Okay, so we received a bunch of props in a single variable called props. Okay, and we only cared about props.navigation. So we kind of reduced it down to curly brace navigation. If there was something else in the props that we cared about, like props.banana, right, then we could do navigation, comma, banana, can. Okay, then you can extract that particular thing from the prop. All right. So for example, if I were to create a new event screen, for example, right? So I could do events screen, right? Banana equals to true. Okay, if I did this, right? This is not going to compile, I warn you first. All right, if I did this and I did banana over here, okay, then I can extract the value true from here. Notice that true here is a string. Okay, maybe I just don't use a string. I use an actual banana. Where? Banana. Okay, so yeah, so now if I really wanted to get this value from the prop, right, I've received it from here. So props are essentially properties, things that are passed into you and you receive them through this little thing called a prop. Okay, now what is state, right? Because I know it does get a bit confusing. We talk about props and state. Okay, so props are things that are passed into you, and this is how you create components with props. Okay, even the things that are in between are the children prop. Okay. However, state is for internal state management. Okay. So components maintain their state internally using useState, right? Parent elements cannot access a child's state. Okay. So essentially, when you have a parent view, right? Just now your first screen over here is a parent view in a sense, event screen, right? It's trying to go to events page 2. That's kind of like a child view, right? The parent view cannot control any state inside the child view. Okay, but the parent view can pass props to the child. In this case, a bit hard because you are going through the navigation. There is a way, but not as straightforward. Okay, I think the better example would be the counter text just now. Okay, you pass some data down, right? But the state is meant for internal management, like showing something on the screen, like a counter. Okay, so once again, props are received from the component's creator or parent, cannot be changed by the component itself. State is private internal configuration, cannot be changed by the parent. Okay, So that's what's going on. This is the way data flows in React. It's just something to, you know, kind of get used to. Okay, props and state, props and state. Okay. All right, there's also this thing, which is a life cycle, right? When you work with data, you're going to need to figure out when this view shows up, must do something. When this view goes away, when it dies, it has to do something as well. Okay, let's finally get started with lists. Questions so far? Oh, here's a question from Luke. But I think Sean has already answered it, so I'm just going to copy Sean's answer. All right, so yeah, is there any difference between doing curly brace navigation instead of just props and after that props.navigation, right? So yeah, so I think the idea here is that it's just cleaner to use, right? So Luke's question is as follows, right? Why didn't we just use props here? And then down here, the only place I use navigation is here, so I might as well just use props.navigation. Can, nothing stopping me. Okay. So it's actually the same, but this one looks and feels a bit cleaner, I suppose, because you are not trying to access everything in props. Okay. You might not type props.something else, perhaps. You never know. Okay. And yeah, props will have multiple things inside them, right? So there's a risk of you doing something wrong with one of them. Okay, so that's the question was why do one versus the other, right? And the reason why I showed you this is because you're going to see this very often, right? People just like to grab a certain prop out of the page, okay, out of the, so grab a certain property out of the props property, property, property. Okay, whatever. All right, so hope that answers your question a little bit, right? And you see this especially in the here, right? Over here, right? This particular thing, this could have been a single prop, right? But we just grab the things out of them, okay? And I guess it's also better for type safety in a sense, okay? Because then you know exactly what's coming in, okay? Especially if you use TypeScript, right? So if you use TypeScript is, like I said before, a variant of JavaScript, which where you have to define a bit more things like the type of the data coming in. So when you do that, then you can define this focused is a Boolean, color is a string, size is a number. All right, good. Right? Because otherwise, if it comes in one props thing, then you're like, oh crap, I have a bunch of nonsense inside here. I don't know what types they are. Okay, so it is a bit safer to use it in that sense also. Okay, right. Great question. Thank you. All right, lists. So lists are everywhere, right? It's a fundamental view. Here is a list. Okay, your mailbox is a list. Not bad. Not just your mailbox. The list of mailboxes is a list. The mailbox itself is a list. Okay. In your chat app is a list. Your list of friends, your list of different chat in your WhatsApp is a list. All right. And even within the chat itself, there is a list. Okay. It's just some of the items are on the right hand side, some of the items are on the left hand side. Okay. Yeah, both platforms, lists everywhere, blah blah blah, lists, lots and lots of lists. Okay, and Instagram lists. Okay, this one is a grid, I guess, right? But it's kind of a list. Okay, you can lay out a list as a grid. Okay, all right. So yeah, that's because your apps are essentially trying to present a lot of information to you. Okay, many of your apps are trying to present multiple pieces of information to you. All right, but you know, sometimes they need to give you a summary of everything before you drill down into it, right? Because it's a small screen. There's a small screen, it's going to show all the information for you. You choose what you want and you tap on one of them to take a look. Okay. All right. So in mobile, you actually need to use all these things to display your things on the screen. One thing you might not have noticed is that your mobile apps, okay, so far, right? Okay, because we've been using this, okay, they don't scroll. Okay, so far they don't scroll, right? On the web, I guess it's fine because they kind of do scroll, okay? But if you're doing it on a mobile device, they will happily just not scroll for you, right? They'll just show the same thing. Let me just see whether it still works that way. Let me put another card over here. Let me just dump another card over here, save it. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't scroll, right? Very nice. Okay, so it actually sticks to it. So you can see over here, you can't tell, but here I am, you know, trying desperately to scroll my mouse wheel, right? And it's not working, okay? Because I didn't put this thing inside a scroll view, okay? In a mobile app, it's something you take for granted. On the web, you're like, oh, of course, I add more things, it scrolls, okay? But on mobile, it doesn't, all right? It's something that you have to consciously include. So how do you make it scroll? Actually, not that difficult, huh? This thing, instead of word view, I'm going to change it to scroll view. Okay, and I'm going to go down here, change this word. Sorry, my mouse is not very good. Sorry, my mouse is terrible at scrolling. All right, speaking of which, if I change this to scroll view, okay, by right, everything should work, but I probably left out some kind of definition in scroll view. Okay, I probably made a mistake. So let's go through that in a bit more detail later on. Right, so I was hoping that I could just anyhow change my view to scroll view. Doesn't quite work that way, but it's okay. We'll figure it out afterwards. Okay. All right, so the way the scroll view works, okay, the scroll view will render all of its children, right? It will put it on screen, right? And then it will show up. Okay, so let's try a scroll view, right? There's also more things over here. Ooh, I have an update to this slide. Let me update it. Okay, great. All right, so one of the key differences, notice the parts in bold. A scroll view will render all of its children before appearing. Okay, it's kind of like a parent that likes to show all his children. The flat list is like a parent, it's like, I don't know how if any of you have like, friends who are parents or new parents. They'll love to show you their baby pictures. Like, oh, look at this, look at this, look at this, right? That's what the scroll view is. It will render all of its children. Okay. The flat list is more like a parent who's like, yeah, whatever, like you want to see picture. Okay, I'll come and show you one. Okay. So that's the idea, right? And thus, flat list is a lot more performant. Okay. Why does this matter? Because in certain apps, you're going to have a ton of data, right? Just imagine, Twitter, right? Putting aside, Elon being weird and ruining Twitter and everything. Okay, Twitter receives a lot of information throughout the day, right? So if you go to a timeline, right, assuming you subscribe to like, a couple hundred people, right? You refresh, you're going to receive thousands of pieces of data, right? And it's not easy for your phone to keep all this in memory so that when you scroll, it will automatically be there for you. Okay, so when you try and do this with a scroll view, what happens is that it will load a whole bunch of stuff into memory and your phone will run out of memory. Okay, and then you will just like not be able to see anything. Okay, this is actually less of a problem now than it was 15 years ago lah. Right, 15 years ago when the first phones came out, back in my day, last time when policemen wear shorts, I had to use phone that when you scroll, it scroll very slowly. Okay, all right, now you children don't understand. Okay, but anyway, now, yes, your phones have plenty of RAM. They could probably handle you putting everything in memory. But the flat list is meant to be very performant. Okay, so it does a whole bunch of stuff. Essentially, it recycles the views. Okay, you scroll very fast, right? It technically only has about, let's say, 50 cells in view, okay, in memory, right? If you scroll very fast, you'll realize that, the top one don't need anymore. It will use it to shove it to the bottom and render something new at the bottom for you. Okay, you don't need to do anything about this, but you do need to know how to use it. And that's your job for this thing. Okay. All right, so flat list versus scroll view. We're using that more, all right, rather than a giant scroll view. Also, flat list can scroll horizontally. Pretty nice. Okay. Okay, so this is a flat list, right? I'm going to demo one names app for you. You know what? I might skip past this. Okay, let me try this. Okay. Let me see if I can demo this on a mobile device for you. Okay, so the scroll view issues don't really manifest on React on the web version. So let me just try this real quick. Okay, so once again, I'm going to need to replace this slide. Let me skip this slide first. Okay, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from scratch. Right, so let me go over here. This thing right here. How do I close this? Hang on. Unfull screen. Okay, good. All right, it's back. All right, so what I'm going to do is I am going to Visual Studio Code. All right, I'm done with this thing. Okay, let me go set up a new project. I think that's educational to be able to do as well. All right, so I am going to Control C. Okay, Control C will stop your server. Okay, and by the way, you can see some of the errors over here. All right, so okay, maybe this was the one that prevented us from running the scroll view. Okay, but anyway, let's do it again. npx create react create expo app names app. Okay. So this will, of course, download a huge pile of stuff from the internet. I warn you first, in case you're doing this on a mobile data, you don't have a lot of data or you're running out for the month. You try and do this, it will download a few hundred megabytes for you. Okay, just be careful. Right, later I show you how much space a default Expo app takes up. Right, I think it's about 200 megabytes. Okay, so while it's doing that, all right, let me just tell you about this app. So what this app is we're going to put a bunch of names on screen. Okay, so this is an array, which I presume everyone kind of knows about. An array in JavaScript is just square brackets followed by stuff. right, the stuff is separated by commas. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the names in an array and put it on screen. Okay. Not very interesting, but I just want to show you. Great. Here we go. So cd names app. Let's see how big this is. This is about 255 megabytes, right, for a Hello World app. Amazing stuff. I love it. Okay. One of the nice things though about npx is that you notice that it actually creates the Git stuff for you. It already Git init for you. Okay. So you don't need to do that. All right. But yeah, look at all these node modules. Amazing. Pages and pages of node modules. Fun, man. Okay, but anyway, that's the JavaScript live for you. Okay, 255 megs just to start the project. Okay, so anyway, what I want to do, I wanted to npm run iOS. Okay, so let's run this on iOS this time round. Okay, and I'm going to okay, so it's going to do some stuff over here. It's going to load my iOS, right? I'm going to open up a new tab and I'm going to open Visual Studio Code, right? Code dot. This thing you need to install something in Visual Studio Code for it to work. Okay, right. Let's see if I can. Let's try and put this full screen again. So I put this full screen, right? Then I need to move my iOS thing up here next to it. Doing. Wait, wait. Okay, good. All right, Ken. Right, looks good to me. Okay, so here you go. Right, this is me previewing on iOS instead. Right, so let me just test it out by going here to test this. Right, so does this work? Save, and there we go. Okay, so totally works fine, right, on the iOS preview as well. Okay, so that's nice. Let's go back over here. What do I want to do? I wanted to. Oh yeah, I should probably upload this to GitHub. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a GitHub project for this. GitHub.com, create project. Actually, this name's app. Not much to it, but never mind. I just create. Okay, so this is a code exp names app. No, code exp 23 names app. Okay, so demo names app. And none of these. Press create repository. Okay, so good practice, right? Assuming that you all hopefully know some about GitHub. Okay, and grab this stuff, paste it inside here, and get it to push up. Okay, so you can use this as a reference for, use this as a reference for the second project for this PM. Okay, great. It's all available to you now. All right, let me close some. I closed the wrong thing. Excuse me. Close. Okay, good. All right, so here's what I want to do. I want to create a bunch of, I want to create an array, right, followed by a bunch of names. Okay, so let's do that. So let me open up my slides over here so that I can actually refer to them on another view. Okay. Sorry, yeah. Okay. Okay, here I am. Okay, so let's go over here. I'm going to hide this view. Okay, I'm going to hide this view. Okay, and now I am going to create a bunch of names. Okay, so const names equals to Alex, Bob, Charles, Derek, E, Elephant, something like that. Okay, so this is a bunch of names. All right, and now I'm going to put them on screen, right? So I can turn off the status bar and stuff, right? So running status bar. Let's do perhaps text, right? And down here, I can do curly brace, name square bracket 0, open close curly brace. If I save this, right, then I'll get Alex on screen, right? Then I can, of course, copy and paste this. Oops, too many. All right, so now I have 5 and I can just manually go and change 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, not bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, simple enough, right? Nothing much to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy over a gigantic names array. Okay, and we're going to loop through it to display on screen. All right, so that's going to be using our higher order functions. So let's take a look. Right, this giant names array, right, which I found on the internet. Okay, it's not that giant. Okay, it's not too big. Okay, but it's all a bunch of A names. Okay, so copy paste. Okay, if I save this, right, of course, it only goes up to this particular fifth name. Okay, how can I display them on screen, right? How can I display more of them on screen? Well, you know what? I could use a for loop, right? I could use a for loop. So I could do this, right? There's one method, This is not necessarily the method, but it's a method. Increase font size a bit. Okay, so here's what I could do. I could say function, display names, right? And I just need to return the names, right? So I'm going to say let name JSX equals to a square bracket. Okay, let name. Okay, for name of names, right? That's how you do a for loop in JavaScript, where it's iterating through it. I could do name JSX dot push text name. And yeah, okay, so here's how it would work. Okay, so and I would return the name JSX. Okay, so what this does is it would just this name JSX is going to be an array where each element inside is a JSX containing the item in the name. Okay, so now, right, I'm just going to, instead of doing it like this, I can just do display names. Oops. Okay, so text strings must be rendered within a text component. What is this? Okay, so I seem to have messed something up. Let me just check real quick. Display. Oh, sorry. I see. This thing is JavaScript. This thing is JavaScript, so I need to put curly braces within there as well. Okay. All right. So I do have a bunch of stuff on screen. Okay, and I have a warning down here. Okay, so this is a warning that shows up and it says, hey, each child in the list should have a unique key prop. We all know what a prop is, right? A prop is a property of the thing, which means that every single one of these should have a unique prop. That means they should have a unique ID, right? So, okay, maybe if I want to do that, then I can do a regular for loop. For I equals to 0, or let I equals to 0, I less than names dot length I plus plus. Okay, then inside here I don't use name, I use name square bracket I, right? And I also give it a prop. Okay, so text key equals to open curly brace, okay, I. All right, so this stuff looks super annoying and complex. Okay, that's mainly because we are switching between your JSX and JavaScript constantly. Okay, every time there's a curly brace, right? Hopefully you just keep in your mind, okay, I'm switching from JSX to JavaScript, switching from JSX to JavaScript. Okay, save this. All right, and there we go. No more warning because now they know that each of them has a unique key. Why do you need a unique key? That's because when it's trying to render stuff on screen, it kind of needs to know what is where, right? It's kind of like asking you to go to, let's say you go and do relief teaching, okay? You're going to do relief teaching in a boys' school, right? All boys primary school, for example, right? I don't know, ACPS, right? So you go there and you go to the primary 1 class and you're like, and they all not wearing their name badges. Then you're like, oh, who is this? Who is this? Who is this? Who is that? Who is that? Right? Maybe you can kind of know where they're sitting, but maybe they wander all over the place. And like, wow, who is everything? Who's everybody? And you lose half of them by the end of the day, you get fired. Okay. Contrast that with if they had name badges, then you're like, oh yeah, that person is Bob, that person is Charles, whatever. Right. So that's kind of what's going on here. All right. Your React Native is like, I really need you to tell me who these people are. Right. I can't really tell what they are, right? This content in here doesn't mean anything to me, doesn't help me remember. But if you give me a key, I can remember. Okay, so I hope that that explains things a little bit. All right, so that's fine, right? That's not bad. Okay, I have a better way than doing this, right? The better way of doing this, you know what? Let me push this method first, right? So git add dot git commit -m added more names and looped through them to display. Okay, so let me push this. All right, but I have a better method than this, and I'm going to delete away this thing. Okay, the better method is as follows, right? So inside here, and you know what? I don't like the fact that it got rid of my round bracket. I want my round bracket back. Okay, so inside here, I'm going to call names.map. Okay, so hopefully some of you, if not all, have seen higher order functions. Okay, when you do a map, What it means is that you're going through your entire array and you are trying to apply something to each of them so that you return back a new array. Okay, so let's try this. Names.map. Okay, it requires a callback function. The callback function takes the object, okay, and it takes what it becomes. So in this case, it becomes this thing, but this thing is JSX, so you put a bracket around it. Okay, so after saving, it becomes this nonsensical hodgepodge of symbols, right, with brackets and equals and curly braces and angle brackets, okay? But it should work. It should work. Excuse me, why aren't you working? Okay, let me just check real quick. Name, blah, 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 names.map, name equals to text name, text view, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what? Why you like that? Uncle, why you don't want to work? Okay, so in theory, this should work. I'm going to try and refresh this. Oh, no. Refresh is not, no, that's not work. Command D will bring up the debug menu, I think. Okay, and I'll press reload. Right. Command R will just toggle the refresh. For some reason, it's not working, which is very strange. Right. Let me go back to my terminal and see whether it offers me any clues right down here. And check the render method. Oh, each child, oh, it doesn't have the key thing. Okay. Text strings must be rendered within each child should have a unique key. Okay, so it's asking me for the key again, and this one's a problem. I don't have a key, right? So I'm just going to key equals to curly brace, right? And I'm just going to ask the internet to give me a JavaScript random UUID generator. So I'm just going to give it a random number. If there is there a random number generator? You know what? No, I'm just going to get a JavaScript random integer generator, okay, and hope for the best, right, that it doesn't clash. Okay, so I'm just going to use math.random. Oh, thanks. Right, nice. Right, so sure. So math.floor, math.random times max. Okay, right. So in theory, you should be able to use all these JavaScript methods. Right, so let's say 5,000. Still no. Okay, so now I've given it a key. What more do you want? All right, so each child should have a unique key prop. Got what? Hang on, let me just try saving that again. Okay. There we go. Right, text strings must be rendered within a text component. Oh, I see. Okay, so this thing is a text. I'm probably missing a bracket, and this happens to me all the time when I'm dealing with these kinds of things. Okay, so I'm just gonna look at it really carefully, and once again, I have more helpful people to answer my questions. Right, missing the index. Right, so yeah. Okay, so that's true, right? I forgot about the fact that you can actually do the index. Let me see. Let's use that method. Okay, so when you do a map, you can also ask for the index, okay, as a second argument in your thing. So let's don't need to give it a random number. Let's not do that. Index. Okay. But let me see what else I can do to actually get the stupid thing to render. All right. So that wasn't the issue that it was complaining about. So what was the issue? Names.map. Names is correct. Okay. Names.map key index. So text blah blah blah. Text name key equals index. Ah, okay. Am I missing brackets around this? Oh, return. Right. Okay. I'm missing okay. I think I know why. If I put okay. Okay, so yes, thank you, Edmund. Right, thanks, Edmund, for the hint. Right, the both hints that help me get the answer. First one is, right, if you want the index in a map, you can add the index as a second argument to the function over here. Okay, so that will give you a number. It'll be 0 to all the way to the length minus 1. Second one is a bit more tricky. Okay, so over here, all right, this index, all right, this index right here is a little bit tricky, okay, because you're saying, hey, please give me back this thing. Okay, when you do this, by right, it's actually inside a round bracket. Okay, but you notice that if I press save, it will remove it for me because Prettier thinks that it was fine to do without it. Okay, if you want it without that, you can get rid of this curly brace, get rid of this curly brace, get rid of the semicolon, and press save. That also works if you give it a round bracket. Okay, so I'm not sure if you can quite tell the difference between this and the error version that we just had. Okay, but let me show you. This is a round bracket. Okay, with the round bracket, then you don't need the return. If I undo, if I have the curly brace, it will not work without the return. Okay, what's going on? If you don't have the word return, it's an implicit return. That means the last thing in your function is what's returned to the caller. Okay, so it just receives JSX. Here, if I do a curly brace like this, right, and I don't put the word return, right, then this looks like just random JSX that's not being returned. Okay, if I put the round brackets around this, it still doesn't work. Okay, so I need to the one-liner return thing only works when you don't have anything else inside it and you don't have curly braces. Okay, if you don't have curly braces, it will trust that it will assume that you want to return. Okay, this is all super annoying stuff. Okay, I have to warn every one of you if you are interested in trying this out. I don't know, it's probably going to happen to you. It happens to me all the time. As you can see, it literally just happened. I did not stage that. Okay, so just be very careful of these. Okay, I was looking very carefully at my code and I still missed out the fact that in my code, this is a round bracket and I typed in a curly brace because by instinct, after your arrow, your fat arrow, I like to type a curly brace because I think that is something that there's more than one line of code to run. Okay, thank you so much, Edmund. I appreciate your help. All right, so I'm still trying to prove the same point. Okay, so essentially, now I'm going to go pull over a gigantic, truly gigantic list of names, right? But let me just push this up, right, in case anyone's facing any issues. I thought I saw a comment in Discord about something didn't work. So let me just try, okay? So map version of name rendering. Okay, so I'm going to push this up for whoever is not working. You can try comparing against mine on there. There's a very good chance that it's one of these brackets that is tripping you up, okay? Because if you change this to a curly brace, it's not going to give you an error, but it's not going to render either, okay? All right, so now the point that I was trying to prove, okay, was I wanted to actually go over here and grab an even longer list of names, which is down here. Okay, so here's this truly ridiculous array of names. All right, copy it, paste it inside here. Okay, a better way to do it would be to have a separate file, you export default and you import it. Okay, but never mind, paste. Hey, I copied it. Copy again, paste. Okay, save, oops. Save. Okay, fantastic. Now we have about 2,000 lines. All right, now our app is struggling. Okay, it's like refresh. Okay, when you ask me to refresh, you know what you're asking for? You're asking me to render 2,000 things on screen at a time. Okay, all right, so okay, first of all, I didn't change to a scroll view, right? So that doesn't quite work. So I'm going to change this to a scroll view. Okay, I'm going to change it to a scroll view, right? Scroll view doesn't exist. Oh, I know why it didn't work just now. We didn't import scroll view. Okay, right. Okay, I will make these same skill issues over and over again. Scroll view. Okay, import scroll view. Okay, and scroll view child layout must be applied through the content container style prop. Okay, that's fine, right? I'm just going to remove flex 1. And I'm just going to scroll view child layout alignment, justify content. I'm going to get rid of alignment and justify content and just save. And there we go. Okay, here's my stuff. Okay. I don't think you can tell, but I'm having a bit of trouble scrolling, right? I'm trying to click down here and scroll up. Okay. Performance is truly awful at this point. Okay, it's trying, right? It's trying very hard, right? It's doing decently at some times, right? It managed to put some things in memory, okay? But it's just struggling a lot because it's trying to deal with 2,000 over views on one screen. Okay, your average screen has, I don't know what, 10, 20, 30 views. Okay, this is 2,000. This is not much fun for your iOS simulator, right? It's being very annoyed. Okay, So that's not great, right? That's not great. And if you try and scroll some more very quickly, you might actually get an error. I'm not sure whether I'll get it on this computer, but I used to be able to on my previous computer. I would get something that said maximum call stack exceeded. That means it's actually ran out of memory. Oh, I managed to get through the end. Good job. Okay, if you see your name in there, shout out, man. All right, but anyway, so that's not great. Okay, there are just too many names, right? There are just too many names. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to change this to a flat list. Okay, we're going to change this to a flat list, right? Let me just commit this piece of rubbish for you. Okay, so git add dot git commit dash m. Okay, added a lot of names for some reason, and git push. Okay, so this is super rubbish, all right, but just bear with me. I'm going to ask you to convert this to a flat list. Okay, let's take a look at the flat list documentation. Right, so React Native flat list. The flat list over here is a performant interface for basic flat lists, right? Fully cross-platform, blah, 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 good stuff, good stuff. Okay, so let's see how you use it, right? So hopefully by now, if you scroll down and you can understand the documentation, that would be fantastic. Okay, so you scroll down, you see, oh, this is TypeScript, right? So if you look at it, you might see some differences from JavaScript, right? All of these things have to have type annotations, okay? But for now, since we're not dealing with TypeScript, switch over to the JavaScript mode, right? You can see over here, okay? So you have to import flat list. Okay, good to know that. You have to create your data. Okay, it's a const with an array. Okay, that data is more complex than ours. Ours is just an array of strings. Okay, and then you scroll down and then say, oh, okay, this is item. This is how you render a single item. Okay, take note, this is how you render a single item. Then if you scroll down some more, it's going to have a save area view. By the way, save area view is what prevents your stuff from flying off the top of the screen like that. Okay, if I use a save area view, it wouldn't go above my little bar down here and below this this nav indicator. Okay, but flat list is actually fairly easy to use once you have it set up. Right, flat list takes in 3 main props: data, okay, equals to data in this case. Render item says given each item, how do you want to render it? Okay, so the way they do it is they created a new view, a new component, right? Item. Okay, we might not need to do that. Okay, but it's just you see, this one's amazing. This one has 3 curly braces. Lovely stuff, right? So this thing down here has 1 curly brace or 1 open bracket, 1 curly brace. Okay, so this inner bracket, right? This inner bracket over here is the argument that the function is getting, and this is the destructured item that you're getting from it. Okay, the destructured prop. Right, then it's just rendering it. Down here is the key extractor, because they're going to try to create a key for each of these items. Okay, and here you just say item is item.id. Okay, so how do we get this working? Right, so one of the key problems is that the flat list data, right, actually expects an object array. Okay, ours is a string array. Right, not so great. Okay, so we are going to first have to convert our string array into an object array so that we can use it. Right, so let's do that. I think it's not too bad. Okay, so let's do that down here, right, with a bit of JavaScript. Yeah, let me scroll properly. Why you don't scroll? Okay, anyway, right. Okay, so okay, great. So const, right, names as objects equals to names.map. Okay, and for each of the items inside it, I'm going to remap it such that you get this. Okay, and you know what? Let's take inspiration from just now, this index thing, right? We're going to say id : index. Okay, so what this does is it will give me, if I use names as objects, okay, it will give me, each of them will have the name as well as the ID set to the current index. Okay, so that's a pretty nice thing to have. All right, so that's step number 1. All right, one thing I should point out, I guess, if you named your item, not item, you could name it name. Then when this is name, name : name, right? Just be aware, this is the label. This is the value. Okay, this is the label. And this is the current value. That means that last time round is Zuriel, right? Second last time round, this italic name is Zubair, and so on and so forth. There's another shorthand in JavaScript where if you see name colon name, you can just put name. Okay, I think it's just something. I'm just here to try and point out as many of these like weird JavaScript things as I can. Okay, so that's step one, converting your array of names into array of strings into an array of objects. Now let's use a flat list. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of all this. Flat list. Okay, data equals to names as objects. Okay, and we are going to try and get a key extractor. Right, so let's do a key extractor. Key extractor. Oh, it's not auto-completing. I think I know why, right? Do you know why? Right, the reason why it's not auto-completing is because I have not imported flat list. So let's go import flat list. Okay, import flat list. Then we can rely on the autocomplete to help us out. Flat list. Okay, so data equals to names as objects. Okay, key extractor equals to key extractor takes a function. For each of the items, we want item.id. Okay, we could technically just use item.name also, huh? Because they are actually unique, but never mind. All right. And finally, we need a render item. Okay, so the render item is how to render this thing. Okay, how to render this thing. Right. So you know what? Let's put this as a separate function, right? Row renderer. Okay, so it's going to complain, right? It's going to complain that it doesn't have the row renderer function, but that's fine because we are going to write it right now. So I'm going to put it inside here. Const row renderer equals to, okay, it receives a bunch of stuff, right? And we only want the item out of it. And we're just going to return text with item.name like this. Okay, so I'm just trying to scroll. I'm so sorry. My mouse does not work very well with a bunch of these things. Okay, so now we have a nice smooth scrolling, maybe. Okay, I don't know how smooth it really is. Okay, but in theory, this is supposed to be a much smoother scrolling than the other one. Okay, I think it's slightly better. Right, I don't know how much better it is, but it's supposed to be slightly better. Okay, so but the key thing here is, yeah, you will be expected to use your flat list rather than a scroll view. Okay, and the flat list takes in three main things. The first is a data prop. Data prop must receive an array which has the objects that you want to put in, right? This shouldn't be a problem, right? Because then you can usually just create your things as objects, right? You don't need to do this weird thing where you suddenly need to convert your strings into objects usually. Okay. The key extractor will essentially ask each item what its ID is, right? What its key is to be used as the ID. Okay. And the last one is render item. Render item is a function which takes in the item and decides how to return it. Okay, once again, I want to show you that this return syntax is not, there's another way to write this return syntax. You could just change this into a open bracket and a close bracket. Okay, yeah. Okay, apparently you don't even need the brackets. Okay, so that's another way of doing it, right? That's why I got so messed up with the return word just now. Okay. Okay, that's really it for now. I think we've covered quite a lot of ground. We would normally take about, 9 or 10 hours to cover all this. We've done it in about less than 6. So I hope you've learned something new. Okay, let me push this up. Right. You know what? Oh, I have this live share feature. I could actually ask you all to come in and poke around my code as I'm doing things. But never mind, maybe tomorrow. Right, git add dot git commit -m change to flat list git push. Okay. All right. So that's it for now. I do have a quiz. Don't go away yet. I do have a quiz for you if you want to win a mystery prize. So congrats to Wei Shen from this morning. Can I ask the winner of this quiz to just drop me a DM or something, right? So I don't need to try and like guess. I'm glad that Wei Shen was easily findable. All right, but I'm not sure if everyone else will be equally easily findable. Okay, so yeah. All right, so let me just go get my quiz set up, right, and we will call it a day. Okay, so once again, there is a mystery prize to be won. It's the same mystery prize for all 6 quizzes. So if you win it again, I don't know, I might go find the second person, and I presume, I don't know, right, we'll see. Okay, so okay, let me just all right, let me just get started. Let me just run the quiz and we can get started. Okay, where's my quiz? Oh yeah, I can't pull it in because it's not the full screen. Okay. Quiz. Okay, there we go. All right, let's do this. Okay, so I'll give everyone about a minute to join, and then we will call it a day. All right, thanks for bearing with all my weird mistakes today. All right, as you can see, I'm a bit tired after talking for about 5 to 6 hours. So thank you everyone who helped answer questions and suggested possible solutions. Appreciate you all. Okay, try to put your name as something I can recognize if you do want the prize, okay? Otherwise, I cannot find you, then or at least you DM me after that, okay? Okay, you have 15 more seconds to join. If anyone else wants to join, please do so in the next 15 seconds. Is there something? Ah, sorry, I activated my Siri. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year. All right, let's go. Okay, PM quiz. I hope I opened the right quiz. I hope there are no mistakes in the quizzes. Sorry, there's a very good chance. Okay, so let's go. Which cross-platform app dev framework will you get started easily with your familiar with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript? This is not strictly an afternoon question, but hopefully you know the answer. Okay, the answer is React Native. Thank you, everyone who got it correct. All right. Okay, next. What do you need to import before you have a variable that can be updated on screen? Hopefully you know what I'm referring to here. Okay, it's import use state from React, okay, not from React Native, okay, which is the next most common answer. Use state is a common thing to React as well. So those of you who want to learn web development in React after this, you should have a pretty decent time because you've gotten used to JavaScript, you've gotten used to some of these things. It's a common thing, right, from React. React Native is where you usually find things like button, view, text, and stuff like that, all your components. Okay, but React is the library that powers all this stuff. It's common to both React and React Native. Okay, what does this mean? Reference error button is not defined, right? If you ever get this issue from your compiler or your screen, right? All right, is it green? You forgot you used the ball, use all the buttons? All right, the answer is you forgot to import button from React Native. Okay, so watch out. So like I said, this button is where it's usually from React Native, right, rather than from React. Okay. All right, well done to Kenneth and Wei Xuan again. Oh my goodness. All right. Let's see what happens. What interface element would you use to display multiple screens showing different aspects of the same app? This has to do with UI design in a sense, okay? All right. It's a multi-select, so it could be more than one, right? Is it a stack? Now, navigation controller, right? Navigation controller is a name for the stack in iOS, okay? Tab bar, is it a flat list? Is it a hamburger menu, which we haven't talked about, but you've probably seen before, right? Think about. Is that something that you might use to display different aspects of the same app? Yes, it is, okay? So navigation controller or stack will kind of show aspects of the same app. It'll be more and more detailed, right? The more you click inside, the more detailed it'll be, okay? A flat list is just showing, data in a tabular format. Tab bar is when you show different aspects of the same app, like the clock app that I mentioned just now, right? Alarms versus stopwatch versus timers. Okay. Hamburger menu is like it's like a kind of like it's like a menu that you see on the web very often, right? You press this button in the top left-hand corner, something slides out, and you have all these different things you can go for, okay? When you're designing your UI, right, just try and think about what is the most important stuff. You might not need all of these things on the front page, okay? It is something to think about, okay? We will spend a bit of time on this on Wednesday. No, not a non-coding session. All right, well done to Yan Chi. Let's keep going. Which of these can curly braces mean in JavaScript? Other than to confuse me. Okay, is it to define an object, define a switch from JSX to JS, define a function, define an if statement? Define an if statement. I guess it depends on what you mean by define, huh? Okay, so all of the above, right? Because your curly braces, okay, maybe some of you would be annoyed with me for this. Defining a function, I guess it means that you use the curly braces to define the start and end of the function. Similarly, for if statement, it defines the block that is run if true. Okay, switching from JSX to JS, yes. Okay, if you're in JSX, you need to put in a function, you need to call the function, need to access a variable, need to put in a number. You need to put curly braces, and the object is pretty much all the JSON that I've shown you before, right? JSON is all your key value pairs. Okay. All right. All right. Let's keep going. Where can you browse expo icons? Is it expo.icons.fyi? Is it icons.expo.xyz? Is it icons.expos.f? Is it expo MRT station? Okay, cool. It's it's icons.expo.fyi. All right. So thank you everyone for trying. All right, next. Okay. 5 points separate the first two. What libraries have we talked about so far? This includes the morning section. I warn you first. Includes the morning session. Sorry, yeah, there's a bonus for people who are here for the morning. React navigation, Expo vector icons, National Library Board is a library, right? I want to point out that I mentioned the NLB in the morning because I told you that if you want to learn more stuff, you can go to Udemy Business, where everyone has a subscription thanks to the NLB. Okay, so if you want to learn more stuff, and it's not from me who might get things wrong, all right, I presume these videos are higher quality than me. All right, you can go there and you can learn more stuff. You can get the more advanced things, lah. Right. I guess the good thing about being here, I guess, is you can ask questions. You can try and learn together. All right. Okay, let's keep going. Which of these are valid Git commands? Okay, so I did some Git today. Right now, from now on, I will be pushing my commits to Git, and the checkpoints will be on Git instead of pasting the code. Right? Which of these did I do? Right. And there's some I didn't do as well. Yes. Yeah. They might be valid. Okay, I did do add and commit. You might have seen me do that. There's no subtract. Okay, but you can clone a repository. Okay, so if there's demand for it, I guess I can do a quick demo of that. All right, 6 points separate the first two. Which of these are real terms in JavaScript? Restructuring, spread operator, destructuring, and truthy and falsy. Okay, so the answer is spread, destructuring, and truthy and falsy. All right. Spread, I don't think I mentioned, I don't think I actually went through today, right? I'll make it a point to talk about it tomorrow. Someone please remind me, right? It's the ... that you might see. I think we had it in one of the code snippets that I asked you to copy. Okay. Okay. Wow, it's still 6 points separating Yan-Shu and Wei-Shen. My goodness. All right, multi-select. What skill issue did YJ run into early in today's lesson? The first one, right? I did this quiz before. I did this quiz during the break, and that was before the second skill issue. Okay, all right. So technically, yes, I did also add the second one in as well, right? It's a multi-select, so yes, you can choose both. Okay, so yes, I forgot to add a file extension. Please don't do that. And the brackets confounded me. I'm so sorry, everybody. All right, so thank you to well done to the winners. Let's see the result of the top two, I think, right, are our, let's see. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Seriously. Oh, no. Yan-Shu got damaged by the last one. Okay, so Wei Xuan is our winner again. All right. Let me go check with DSTA how this works out. Let me I guess I'll take a screenshot just to let them know. Wait, how come I'm not taking a screenshot? Okay. All right, but that's okay. All right, let me just I'll just take a screenshot and I'll send it over to the chat. Okay, congrats everyone. Congrats to winners. Thanks for everyone for trying. All right, Wei Xuan is completely unstoppable like Kahoot is my conclusion. I will see you tomorrow at 9 if you can make it, and I will try to post these recordings tonight. You can let your teammates know they want to try and catch up. If they want to watch me at 3x, I speak pretty fast already, but it should be quite funny. All right, if they try. Okay, thanks everyone. Take care. See you tomorrow. Have a great evening ahead.